In the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Look no further than Alaska's #1 real estate team at alaskashometeam.com. Decades of local experience, knowledge, and expertise in the competitive real estate market. Alaska's Home Team makes buying or selling your home a breeze. Give them a call today at 907-277-3777.
Lady with a Plan, your own Alaska event planner. From scouting the perfect location to planning the tiniest details, specializing in event management and production for intimate social gatherings, retreats, birthdays, bridal, and baby showers. Find Lady with a Plan on Instagram.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They're the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Artic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include snow and ice management, weekly lawn care, and more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
There you go, Chris. Oh, he made it.
Oh, man. Damn, we got real quiet there for a second.
It's like, I'm going to make this sound really good.
Let's get a drum roll going.
Leaning back.
Well, welcome to another Alaska Wild Project podcast, episode number 46. We have Chris Owens here. Chris Owens is a lifelong Alaskan, one of the original owners of Chugach Powder Guides, works for Red Bull, setting some shit up with them. Class 5 whitewater, correct?
That was the original rafting company. Yeah.
That was the original rafting. Epic Quest, another one. Part of videos with Travis Rice, all those guys. Yeah. Hunter, fisherman. What else? Badass hairdo.
Have you always had long hair?
No, man. This is the first time I've ever had long hair.
Really?
It's starting to get epic.
Yeah.
I feel like the dude in Back to the Future.
It's got some nice curls going on.
Oh, man, you hit it on the nail.
21 gigawatts.
Professor?
The professor, yeah, exactly. That looks good. That looks
Doc,
really
I'm sorry,
good.
Doc.
Doc, that's what it is. Yes, Doc.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That about fits the bill, doesn't it?
Letting her flow, man.
Yeah, it looks good.
Letting her flow.
Some of us can still let it flow, Brandon.
Oh, I could. Hey, my hair would look a lot like his, to be honest with you. It really would. I got curly hair like that, but it'd only be like right here.
You know, I kind of see it at this point as a duty because, like, my brother, at like 20, he started going pink.
Oh, man.
You know?
See, that poor bastard. I made it to 25 at least.
You have hair, you should grow it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
That's why he's got the beard going.
Yeah, I just went like this.
Just straight down.
Fell through.
That's great. Thank you to all the new subscribers to the YouTube channel and all the people that have been leaving us Apple Podcast reviews. Everyone that's been down to Barney's to pick up some of the merch. We do got the new orders on the way. Some of the orders going to be split between our website, exclusive stuff that we're going to have on our website, and some exclusive stuff that's going to be up there at Barney's. If you haven't gone by there, definitely go there and spend some money at a local shop. You been up to Barney's?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Barney's been there forever.
Yeah. I feel like Barney's, AMH, what else is just like super old school?
Well, there used to be a place.
Gary King's.
Yeah, well, do you remember Eberhards? Eberhards used to be across from Gary King's, and it was owned by Eberhard Brunner. It was like the first real ski shop here in Alaska. It was a big deal to go in there and get your skis waxed and hang out.
How do you spell that?
Eberhards, Eberhards. And so Eberhard Brunner was like this iconic wildlife photographer, super badass. And he also had the first ski shop here. And he was a Austrian gentleman, good looking Austrian gentleman. Kind of classic silver haired mountain goat.
Yeah.
And that was here even before Gary King's. So
before Gary King's.
that's where you would go to get your binding work done or whatever, or buy a pair of skis. And Eberhard's still around. Eberhard Brunner's still around, and his daughter Bridget Brunner's kind of a Valdez denizen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gary King's I remember I was like rollerblading had just come out, and he was like the only one that had like the sweet bearings that you could go get and all the extra cool like wheels that you could get. And he was like the only store that you could go and get that on top of everything else. I mean, it was so cool to just, it was almost like REI before REI is kind of how the feel of it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Have you been in that REI? Have you been in the REI down in Seattle?
Oh, I've driven past it. No,
have you been like the weather chamber and
holy
climbing wall and everything?
Like a complex.
Oh, dude, it's a fucking complex. It takes up an entire like block, and it's like 3 stories. It's just massive. You need like a whole weekend to just go through it all.
Well, they have chambers in there where you can test your weather gear, so you can batten it down and go step into a monsoon and see how it does.
Yep, they do. It's crazy.
Legit. Yeah.
I wonder if they didn't have that, because I was there during like October, so there's like COVID shit going on, so maybe they didn't let people like let the breeze go.
Let it rip.
Yeah, let's just let it rip. But yeah, man, Gary King's, I used to love to go to Gary King's. I think I still have a Gary King old fishing rod.
Yep.
That was
cool
like
shop.
the only spot, right, that you could find.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, good high end gear.
Yeah. What year did Gary King's sell or close down?
Like 95 or something, maybe mid-90s, maybe before that even.
Yeah, I'm thinking early 90s maybe.
Yeah, 94, 93.
Why did it? What happened with that?
REI, probably.
well, he went into like small time. He was just selling rafts.
Yeah, he was selling rafts, and he had an outfitting thing going on.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. He went the natural path of certain small business,
Yeah.
Well, that's a huge space that he was in.
Yeah, I'd much rather see it back there than what had become a Chuck E. Cheese.
No, what is it now?
Isn't it?
I think it is.
No, Chuck E. Cheese is next to it.
Yeah.
It was next to it. Oh, it's like a gym or like a body renew or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe.
That's crazy.
There's been a few things.
Good old days. Yeah.
Well, let's get into the history of Chris Owens here. Before we get started, Chris, if you guys are looking for more info on Chris or some of his cool stuff that we're going to be talking about, his Instagram is @OwensNeverSleeps. That's a really cool name.
Yeah, I like the handle. That's cool.
That's a whole back Teton Gravity Research, if you're familiar with them, their founders, one of their founders is Dirk Collins, who grew up here in Anchorage, and at the time that they were getting started in Jackson Hole, I was living in Colorado, going to school and teaching down there, and they were working on starting up TGR, and I kind of became bound up in their whole program and helping start Teton Gravity Research. But I was busy all day, and so everything I did for them, I did at night, and the moniker Owens Never Sleeps kind of came out of all of that, and it's stuck with me ever since. So
you had the name before even Instagram was around?
I think I tacked that name on in 1996.
Before MySpace.
Pre-social media.
Pre-social media, man.
Sounds like a lot
you know
of
what?
work.
I wouldn't mind going back to the pre-social media days.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so different now, man.
You can't say we're better off for it.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No,
I don't think
definitely not.
I definitely don't think that the kids are better off. Like my kids are full meltdown, dude. When it comes time to like enough with the iPad. You know what I mean? It's just like full meltdown.
Yeah.
It's like how I would be when my mom used to be like, "You got to come inside now," and I would just full meltdown, like 1 more hour. You know?
Yeah, I don't want to go back in.
Yeah, man. It's terrible.
No, it used to be, especially, in the kind of golden days that you did shit outside.
Yep.
Yeah.
As a kid, you went outside and your parents said, don't come back till it's dark. And in the summer, don't come back.
Yeah, you wouldn't come back.
You'd
I
be
would
out
only
for
go
a long
home to
time.
take a shit.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I would wait so long, I'd shit my pants on the way home.
It's like, don't want to interrupt my fun.
Yeah, and then I just would not
That's a little
make
boy.
it,
That's
dude.
a little boy thing, dude.
Oh,
like
man,
you're not
dude.
like the FOMO is so bad.
Yeah, you're just in the middle of a huge
Risk
tag
it.
game, and you're like, I gotta poop so bad, but I can wait, and then you just can't, and you try to run home, dude, and I just would shit my ass, dude. And it was always at this one spot at the fence, for like,
It's a lot of graphic information.
no, hey, man, hey, listeners, listen, if
Yeah.
you made it this far,
It's
you
the real
deserve the
deal.
story.
It's the real deal.
We'd get to this part in the gate. I grew up by Tudor Elementary over there before the Alpine apartments were built, and it was all like woods over there and Campbell Creek, and we'd fish and float that thing, and we would play at the park over there. They had just built like a brand new, like back then it was all wood, like the playgrounds were all made out of like wood and steel,
Right,
splinters, and just like knock your head on things.
Death traps.
Just the real tire that would go around and around until you just throw up. And I would just try to run home, man. And I lived like on the first street of houses that was right there, like where the Alpine apartments are now. Like there was only one street of houses, and there was all mud. And that's like where I learned to actually ATV ride, because it was just all like swamp there. And I would just run home and like never make it, and always get to the gate where I was like gonna get to the street, and it'd just be like, boom, shit my ass. Right there, dude. I would just take off my stuff, throw it in the trees, and go back to play. I wouldn't even like go home. I'd be like, oh, it's too late now. What am I gonna go home for?
Grimy, bro.
Dirtiest D.
Yeah, you're the dirtiest D. No doubt about it.
Chris, before we got in here, you
Graphic.
said that your mom opened the first art store.
Yeah, my folks came up here in the military in 1967, and both originally from North Carolina, and I think they thought they were moving to the cold version of hell. So they moved up here.
Stationed in Fairbanks or
No,
Anchorage?
they're stationed here.
Okay.
At Elmendorf, and their moving truck got stolen.
What?
So they got shipped to Alaska from North Carolina, and all of their worldly possessions evaporated.
Oh my God.
Right. So they definitely had like fresh start here, all the way as fresh as it gets. And I was born here in '69. My mom was originally a elementary school teacher, and then she opened an art gallery called Artic Limited, which was downtown on G Street.
Yep.
Over there by what is now 49th State.
Yep. Crush.
Yep.
Urban Greens.
Yeah, it was right there. It was right there on that. And So she closed it a few years ago after I think 47 years. But it was
I know
the
that
first
little shop.
it was the first
Yeah.
gallery in Alaska. Yeah.
Really? What year was that? First year?
1971, I think.
Wow.
Yep. So I grew up with,
Wow.
you know,
That's a
kind of
long
in the
time.
presence of a lot of what are considered the Alaskan greats. You know, the Makatons family, the Birdsall family, the Van Zyles, Susan Ellis, Ree Munoz.
Yeah.
You know, it's all of my first jobs were in the gallery.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and get a little older, you're still working there, and you're making cardboard air guitars, and you know, my parents used to loan me out to the Makatons family, who had a big spread up. If you go up on the hills across from the Palmer Fairgrounds and drop back on the other side there, they had an area called High Ridge, a couple of big lakes on their land, and that's where he painted. And they heated their entire program with wood, so they had their own logging roads, they had dog teams, and the whole deal. My parents would loan me out to the Makatons to log in the summer, just to support their program, help them do that. And you know, he always said, "A man who cuts his own wood is twice warmed."
That's
Twice-
yeah.
Twice warmed.
Twice warmed. Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's all those
Sweaty
old
and
school-
then cold and then heated by the
by the work
firewood.
that you did. Yeah, that's right.
Badass.
Yep.
Artic, man, that has been around for a long time.
Piece of Alaskan history. Yeah, it's closed now.
Yep.
You know, I think it's a little bit of a sad commentary. I mean, she was getting close to her 80s, and it was time for her to do something anyway. But, you know, kind of the reality is that the culture war is over and culture lost. You know, people buy big screen TVs now. They don't
Yeah.
buy original pieces of art.
No.
You know, it's just a different consuming public these days.
Yeah.
And it's too bad.
Yeah,
Well-
so you saw that business, like how it changed.
Yeah,
Once it went to like
and
technology mode.
I got to hand it to her. You know, she closed it on her own terms. She wasn't, you know, she kept this high level of excellence all the way until the very last day, and wasn't willing to compromise or change the vision of what that beast should be.
Yeah.
You know, she's basically like, nope, I'll close it as is rather than sell it and watch somebody dwindle it into something else, or you
Yeah.
know,
Well, good for her.
which is kind of an art in itself.
Sure.
It's sticking with that vision and
Yeah.
and
She retired it. She was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's, yep.
So what happens to
great.
all those old pieces?
I had a lot under my bed.
Yeah.
It's just kind of time to rotate the art. Yeah, you know, I don't know.
Do they have like a big sale at the end and try to like sell off what you could, and then
Yeah.
obviously there's a
Yeah,
price
it-
point where you're like, I can't get rid of this for this low.
Yeah, it was a super bittersweet
Yeah.
closing, and you hold on to your favorite pieces. And,
Yeah.
yep.
What's your most prized piece from there?
I have in my home, I have it's probably 5 foot by 6 foot Byron Birdsall oil painting of just
nice.
trees in the snow.
Yeah.
And he didn't do a lot of oils. You know, he was a watercolor guy.
Yeah.
But he did, you know, he would get commissioned by, you know, BP to do these giant things in the lobby or whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
And he did some commercially sold or regularly sold pieces that were big oils, but it wasn't his normal thing. But he was a dude that figured it out, that figured out balance, that's the struggle, right? Like, how do you make money? How do you have the things that you want? How do you have the experiences that you want? And how do you not give up the wrong chunks of your life in order to have those things, right? And this was a guy who did exactly what he loved, that he loved with a passion. He did it in the presence of his family. He figured out how to be very successful at it. You know, he was very prolific. You could see Birdsall's all over the place. You'd see him in Seattle, you'd see him in Alaska, you'd see him all over the
He
country.
was really producing them.
Yeah, he was ripping them out.
Yep.
But he still kept it very authentic. And, you know, he would look at his family and go, let's go live in London for a year. I'll do a London series. And he would go paint in London and throw a Denali with Big Ben in front of it and come back here and just sell the shit out of it, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And
He'll
he'd say,
eat it up.
He'd look at him and
Yeah.
say, okay, now let's go live in Kenya for a year. And he would do a Kenyan series and throw Denali on the savannah, right?
Yeah.
You know, he absolutely grabbed the world right by the balls and squeezed and made it his own in his own way. And, you know, he lived to a pretty ripe old age and he never compromised. He had it all. He did it all.
That's an inspiration.
It's super hard to do that. It is really easy to chase whatever your passion is, and in the process of that, forego the things that you need, or alienate your family, or work yourself into a heart attack, or balance is hard.
Yeah.
Is it ever?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't really figure that out till you get older, too.
The balance thing.
The balance leans way more toward being selfish and doing you.
Yeah.
And then there's like a paradigm shift where you're like, for a while in between, you're like forcing yourself to compromise to the point where later you just get good with balancing it and being cool with like, can't make this trip this weekend, boys. Got this.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But that's cool because I'm guessing you can reminisce on all that when you look at that painting in your house, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's what's like the coolest part about that.
Well, and
The
Byron
artist
and I
behind
had-
the piece, right?
Yeah, we had a cool relationship because I would provide him with a lot of photographic art that he would later paint and
Okay.
turn in.
Got it.
Really?
Got it.
Yep.
Now his pieces are on your Instagram too, right? Or is that what? we're
Those
looking
are
at?
all my pieces.
Those are all your pieces?
Those are all my pieces.
I hope 100% yours, yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's amazing stuff.
He's still alive?
No, he died maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
Did they ever do any kind of book on him or documentary? Or man, that would be a great one.
I don't know. The museum
do some
has some of
research and
those
look
kind
at
of
it.
pieces. They definitely have one on Fred Makaton's. I don't know about Byron.
So you grew up in that building. A funny little connection. I own a couple hot dog stands downtown, and for like 4 years, my commissary was downstairs in that building, in that basement. And I could just imagine as a kid growing up down in that basement, growing down and all that that stairwell that goes down there and all that scary shit that's down there.
Yep.
I mean, I'd be freaked out just as a grown man. Like,
And that funky little street lift at the end.
Yeah.
Pop out on the sidewalk. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
yeah, it has like a weird little elevator thing there, which wasn't working. Would have been nice because carrying coolers full of sodas would have been nice to have an elevator. We used to have to carry them up those stairs.
Oh,
that
brutal.
double stairs,
Right.
dude. Every single day, dude. Just 6 coolers coming up the stairs, bro. Talking about being ready for sheep hunting. That was
Get your training in.
get your training in for sure, for sure. James is the shizziest, right?
James is the shizziest.
All right. What's the count? Can we keep a count on that? That's 2.
That's one. I got one since we started recording.
What, one of just saying James is the shizziest?
Yeah.
Or
James
2 of James is the shizziest.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Now I'm losing track. I think we're 4 now.
4 now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, James is the shizziest.
And that was
course he is.
100 each, right?
Huh?
100 each?
Well, he's saying 10, but
$10. Oh, okay.
yeah, but if we can say it 100 times, he's going to owe me a lot of
We
money.
we get up the ante too.
We'll get it there. Actually, James the shizziest came up in the Chad's Chad Arntz. You know Chad?
I've met Chad.
Yeah.
Chatted with him a bit, but we've never really hung out.
Yeah, cool dude, badass guy. Was bringing up some Avalanche stuff. We were supposed to have Chugach Avi come out, and we are going to do a whole Avalanche deal with those guys. And the guy who was supposed to come got sick. We're rescheduling them, and so Chad came and saved the day. And obviously, he's had some experiences with avalanches. And then he was telling me how James, he was there with James on his little avalanche experience and showing us the picture there. So James is the shizziest.
Shizziest.
Got it?
What's
Yeah.
James'
Keep
last
it
name
going.
again?
Stevens.
Stevens,
James
yep.
is the shizziest. Yeah.
His last name is the shizziest.
Yeah, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting James, but I heard a lot about him.
James is a awesome man. Awesome
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Real good.
Got us
dude.
hooked up with Chris here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
That's way cool.
He
Yeah,
did.
you know, this is like really fun how we can all make these connections, and to get a character in an Alaskan classic like yourself and your story on.
An Alaskan classic. Is that how you say old these days?
Well, it was an incredible. I felt like it was a very respectable way to say a very seasoned veteran of
There you go. Old codger.
of the wild Alaskan lifestyle. So,
Crusty in all the right places.
yeah, I mean, old codger. I don't know if I go quite there. I mean,
I'm working on it.
I mean,
It's a
maybe
goal.
when
You gotta have
you're
goals.
drinking whiskey, I don't know. Maybe the codger comes out, but
Man, gotta have goals.
yeah, we do got some Johnny Walker over there, just in case you're wondering.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, thanks, Pepe. Well, let's backtrack then a little bit. So your mom started the Artic, and then obviously you grew up in Alaska, East High Thunderbird. Shout out to Thunderbirds Fly the Highest.
Yep.
All right, 88, right?
88.
1988.
Yep.
Team 88.
Yep. Grew up right here in Anchorage, kind of split between here and Girdwood. Grew up ski racing, and most of my existence being down in Girdwood.
Yep.
Damn, man, the highway though back then.
They used to have the bus. Remember the bus that'd pick you up? Did you ever take the bus? They'd pick you up
no.
right at Gary King's.
No, I was actively racing, and so I was involved with a lot of families that were always back and forth, including my own. So it's more of a question of whose turn is it
To
Oh,
drive
gotcha.
out
Yeah.
there.
It wasn't like my mom just, we're going to drop you off at this parking lot and hope these guys pick you up and take you all day.
Yeah, I was
Take
just
your brother,
thinking how the logistics are probably so much smoother now compared to back then.
The
Which the way the highway
old
went
road
up
was
on the
pretty
road-
exciting. Yeah,
I mean, you got a real hairball there for like an S curve
Yep.
at the top,
Oh, yeah.
man. And then I mean,
and it avalanched all the time.
yeah,
All the time.
yes,
Yeah.
and it was way tighter to the mountain and just
Yeah, and narrow.
crazy.
Super narrow. Like there's
You did
no
that
room
a
for error.
million times,
A
probably.
million times. Yep. Yep.
Oh man.
Yep.
I remember kids growing up and talking about going to Alyeska all the time. I never did it. I never was into skiing.
Yeah.
None of the family members did it. Just kind of one of those things. Didn't have a buddy that did it really.
Yeah.
So, but man, the stories are always so cool. Like, because I love Girdwood. I love Bird. I love going down into that area, and it's got to be a blast to make it a routine to go down there on the weekends and ski and snowboard.
Yeah, and then
It's like a
not go to
lifestyle,
school
really.
and go down there during the week too.
Sure.
And
I think
little
they
easier
might
to
have
skip
priced a lot of
school,
people
too.
out at this point.
say what?
Priced a lot of people out at this point. It's
yeah,
gotten
it's
pretty
gnarly now.
spendy.
That's
Yeah.
a pretty good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I prefer to tour these days. Nothing against Alyeska. I still, it's the home I grew up in. But
Yeah.
it's, I like to get a little bit more off the
Grid.
beaten track. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I
Nice.
bet. So grew up skiing and doing that, and then
Yeah. And a lot of fishing when I was young.
Okay.
Neither one. I am a hunter. I am an
commercially
avid,
or
no?
Oh,
no,
okay.
just sport fishing.
Gotcha.
I am an avid hunter, but my parents are not. I did not grow up hunting. That didn't really enter my life until my 20s.
Okay. Yep.
But as a youth, it was racing and then figuring out ways to squirrel off piste and
Yeah.
figure out ways to disappear into the mountains and still be home in time for dinner.
Yeah.
Sure.
Which really kind of set the track, right?
Yeah.
So then went away, hometown syndrome, couldn't wait to leave, couldn't wait to come back.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't really realize how good life is here until you leave for a while. And I lived in Colorado, knocked out a couple of degrees there, taught there for a little while, lived there for 7 years, and then I was definitely ready to come home. So finishing up in Colorado, I helped TGR, Teton Gravity Research, get started in Wyoming and just help get that company off the ground. And in my return here, I helped them manage the very beginning of online marketing and the building of community forums and those types of things, and original websites, and the first
MySpace page.
No, it wasn't a MySpace page, but we were pretty early, bleeding edge in delivering video online.
Okay. For those that could get like internet that was good enough to stream it. And
Oh, it took forever.
I bet.
It took forever.
Yeah. Just like 3 hours to watch a 15-minute video.
Yep. So,
Got to watch it though.
Traveling kind of with that crew, and meeting mutual friends. When I moved back here, our friend Doug Coombs was starting Valdez Heli-Ski guides in Valdez. And so myself and Jim Conway and Dave Hamry and a couple of other guys helped Doug get Valdez Heli-Ski guides off the ground in Valdez in 96. And then the next year, Doug helped us start Chugach powder guides in Girdwood. And so those early days were stupid. It was smart and it was stupid. The stupid part was the business model, right? Because it was in the bar and going, hey buddy, I got $37 in my pocket. If we can come up with another 150, we could be out there and out of the resort. How much money you got?
Yeah.
And it was all about finding that way to get out there yourself.
Yep.
But there was this very earnest discussion of, especially standing there in Valdez and like looking up at the books and some of the other features around there with people who are now considered historic greats in the industry, right? Mm-hmm. Looking at that stuff and going, well, okay, yeah, so that's doable. But could you do it with somebody else? Could you do it with somebody without your skills? Could you do it repeatably? If you were going to do it repeatably, how would you do it? How would you make sure that everybody makes it home at the end of the day? And it was really the beginning of kind of advanced backcountry travel safety protocols.
Yeah.
And, there was heli-skiing going on elsewhere in the world. Like, it was very established in Canada already, and Sun Valley Heli-Ski guides, which we later ended up buying, but they were the first ones in the United States. But it was still a very fluid and very unperfected train of thought. And then you take Alaskan terrain into consideration. And by the way, this was in 96, 97. In 91, I went on my first heli-skiing trip. I got buried, and I got
really?
Oh, yeah, and I got beaten through the trees like a pinball. Like, I broke my ocular, my collarbone, 5 ribs, punctured both lungs.
Oh, you got tore up.
Broke my jaw, yeah, and buried for 40 minutes. I punched my head through into a tree well and had air, and it saved my life. And so then and I had been married for 6 months.
Ooh.
And then it later ended up becoming what I did.
Yeah.
And, so I had certain family and a wife that were like, what? Really? And so that question of how do we do this? Not once, like, you get the right crew.
Yeah.
You can do anything. If you have the right crew, you can climb Everest. If you're in shape and you know how to do it, you have the skills. But the question is, how do you do it with people who don't have those skills, who are going to come on vacation, that aren't at the peak of their physical condition, that haven't been looking at that particular thing for 4 years and waiting for the right day. Right.
Yeah.
And so how do you bring them in? How do you evaluate that? And how do you safely lead people through that experience? And then, that kind of set of operating protocols, you can find those bones in, so we were the first 2 operations, and now there's like 19 in Alaska.
Wow.
If you dig through their operating plans, you'll find those bones
Yeah.
in everybody's advanced operating plans these days.
Yeah, you guys almost set the blueprint
We did.
for it
Man, there must have been
with
so much
experience and everything,
so
right?
much trial and error going on. I bet. For how long do you just like do it yourselves before you feel like, hey, we might be able to bring a paying customer on this?
Yeah, that's kind of how it was. I don't
Make sure
think,
they're up for it and everything else. I mean,
I don't think I took a paycheck till 2005.
Yeah.
really.
And then it became, by the time I sold it out, it became a machine. We had the lodge in the Tordrillos. We had the operation in Girdwood. We were running 3 helicopters in Girdwood, 1 in the Tordrillos. We bought Sun Valley Heli-Ski guides. And, on any given day, we had 110 employees and
Wow.
bunch of clients in motion, and buses and chefs and
Yeah.
trucks and
Full
cats
operation.
and snow machines and all kinds of stuff going on. It became a very different animal, and it's a.
Did you expect that to grow that big?
I hoped it.
Yeah.
And then I was sorry.
Oh, that kind of.
It changes the
dream
it
to-
changes the passion. It's a unique.
Took a life of its own, right?
It's a unique kind of stress because you have all of these wheels in motions. You got pilots, you got drivers, you got snowcat drivers, you got guides, you got a mixed bag of clients from all over the world, and there's a bunch of critical links that if any one of those things goes wrong, you kill someone. Somebody's gonna die.
Yeah.
Right, or get seriously fucked up. And we had our fair share of people get fucked up. But in the mountains, we never had a death. Since then, there's been some deaths. But our operation, we never did. And it was, near my culmination, I was finally all the way out in 2014, I think. I felt like I did good. I passed it on, give him a good shove off and a wish of good luck, and with kind of the knowledge that even if you do it all right, if you do everything right, you don't make any mistakes, you use good science, you use good protocols, you make nothing but good decisions, which that doesn't exist, by the way, but there's an intent right? In the best of cases, you make nothing but good decisions. The X factor is still out there, and if you keep dealing the cards long enough, your number comes up, and you hurt somebody. And so, our summer operations were both kind of local and expedition rafting and fishing, and we had a program called Kings and Corn, which was heli-skiing, T-shirt heli-skiing in June, corn snow in the Alaska Range, the Tordrillos.
Okay.
And then heli fishing for kings. So you would go back once the corn gets too soft and switch your gear and spot kings from the air and jump out with a nine weight fly rod and harass kings with a fly rod. And eventually, we ran 6 Mile a lot. And we eventually we had a death on 6 Mile, which kind of got my mind into risk and what's worth it and what's not. And I'm a firm believer that risk is worth it. The best things in life come from risk, but it has to pay, and it has to continue to feed your soul, or it's not worth it. Once it becomes that thing that keeps you up at night, it's time to move on. Yeah, because then you get stupid too.
Your ability to make the correct choices starts to waver, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. And we always had some very fundamental things that worked for us. I had 2 partners. I had Mike Overcast, who is the guy that you want to be around if you happen to be if you need to be carried out of the mountains for 15 miles on somebody's back, right?
Yeah.
He's the dude. And Dave Hamry, who is who I want to be when I grow up. was the main avalanche talent for the Alaska Railroad for decades.
Dave Hamry. Mm-hmm. This is his wife, Patty. Mm-hmm. I worked with Patty in the school for a long, long time.
Yeah, well, Dave's a stud.
He is a stud.
Oh, yeah.
I've been to a few Christmas parties up at their house. Their beautiful house and all like their
good music.
All their good music, good everything in there, and beautiful home, and all their like beams and stuff are old. Like I chatted with him for a while. They're all like old railroad ties, and railroad stuff, and it's he's a really, really cool dude. Yeah. So Dave always kept his day job, which gave us a hell of a lot of intel on what was going on in the mountains from a science perspective. And, you know, so Mike his role was to keep the people alive, and my role was really to keep the business alive, and Dave's role was to keep me and Mike alive. You know, to just come in and calm us down and go, wait, back up, stop talking. Slow down, think about it this way, you know, get some altitude, boys, breathe. And, you know, you're not allowed to kill him, and you're not allowed to kill him. Don't kill each other, you know, come on, we're all on the same team here. And, you know, that gift of being able to separate your business decisions, the money decisions, from your safety decisions, and letting those things exist in there, not letting money drive go, no go type decisions. Like
safety first.
Yeah. Not having that thing where, oh my God, if we don't ski these people today, we're gonna shell out $20,000 in refunds because they haven't achieved their guarantees this week and they're leaving tomorrow and da 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 da. You know what?
Pressure, man.
You know what? You shell out the $20,000 in refunds and you try and figure out how to make it work tomorrow. Yeah. You know, it's the kind of business that, I mean, I had multiple occasions where I would look at my wife and say something to the effect of, if it rains for 3 more days, we're going to lose our house. Yeah. You know, and like, what the fuck are you supposed to do with that? Well, thank you for telling me that.
Yeah. Just a heads up.
I just want to let you know.
That sounds pretty volatile.
It always worked. I've always been really good at putting my financial fate in the hands of the gods.
Yeah.
And
you
trusting in the universe a little bit and letting it happen, you know. Relax and let it happen.
It sounds like you've given all of the right energy to the powers that be that have allowed you. I mean, you figure the avalanche scare, the all the stuff that you've done that I'm sure was hairball, like a lot of it. Even though it was safe and you guys had it right and it was still hairball.
Even though you try and keep it to not be.
Right. You know, you still have to pay attention. And so it seems like I was just kind of like, just the way you rolled. I mean, just on the edge kind of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, would that kind of sum it up? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think
so
that oversimplifies it a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you're just trying to make it through the day and you know, the Heli-Ski season is it's a marathon, man. You're got about a 12-week shot where you're working 7 days a week. You're going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning and up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, as an owner, every single client who comes wants to try and kill you with alcohol.
They want to
you know,
party.
You're expected to entertain as well as do the job. And, you know, the end of the season comes and you just about pass out. You just feel like, oh, my God, thank God.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, just a shift.
What is the season? What's the date
12
like
weeks.
that?
It's generally from, like, our season always started, right, President's Day.
Okay.
And go through mid-April, sometimes into May, just depending on the kind of winter you're having.
Yeah.
And you can go that a little bit later out in the Tordrillos. You got a little more altitude out there. And then we would go right into rafting like 3 weeks later. So you
a little short break or
tear one operation down and ramp up the other the other operation and go all summer, and then take a break in the middle of rafting, go to do 4 or 5 weeks at Kings and Corn, and then back into rafting, and and then fall comes and it's time for hunting. Everybody takes a breath, and that was something that we always chose not to make part of our professional lives, and to just hold for ourselves, and to not pollute.
Ski, raft, and then hunt for passion.
Because I don't care who you are. Your dad always told you, do what you love, and the money will come. Right, the famous dad quotes, and that's right. But tying your mortgage to the passion can change the passion.
Yeah,
I bet.
Yeah, like you said, it can get volatile. It can get.
Yeah, then it's not fun. If it's like, well, either we keep the business or we keep the house.
Yep.
Right.
So I kind of felt like I made it through, close to 2 decades, and didn't kill anyone. And it was the right time to get out. So we took on some investors, and we formed a company called Epic Quest. And that was really an effort at taking those same high-end adventure travelers who we very much had their trust, their friendship, not only with their lives and their safety, but with their time and their money to a certain degree. We touched a lot of money. We didn't keep a lot. Yeah. But, and kind of taking another bite at the apple with those same folks and saying, all right, well, if you like that, let's go do this. And so we set up biking in Lake Garda, Italy, and yacht-based surfing in the Marshall Islands, and fly fishing for golden mahseer in the tiger preserves in India.
Wow, all over the place.
Trekking and rafting in Bhutan, and equestrian safari in Kenya, and really affiliating ourselves with the best of the guide world, and taking that same hand on the back, high touch, highly personal adventure sports delivery kind of methodology, and expanding it out through different sports. So we formed Epic Quest, and I agreed to run that for 5 years and then take a dilution and be all the way out. And so on the back end of that, I held on. There was always a film support end of the industry that came with heli-skiing and rafting and, backcountry, this and that. We guided hundreds of film crews, photographers, magazines, television shows, you name it, over the years. And that kind of business, when you make your living on a repetition of runs, is actually a pain in the ass for heli-ski companies, that type of thing, because it's slow and you can't combine it with your people who are paying good money for a certain volume of skiing.
Right.
Okay. And
a lot of pressure, man.
Film work is very time intensive. It's it looks like all action, but there's a lot of sitting around. And waiting for the light to change, and so I held on to the film and television production end of the business when I left, and so that became Conundrum Ventures.
Okay.
And went from that into producing a couple of features for Red Bull, the most recent of which was the fourth phase.
The fourth phase.
Which is, there was 3 of them. There was That's It, That's All, and The Art of Flight, and the fourth phase. And those were all Travis Rice films. And so That's It, That's All we worked on under Chugach Powder Guides and Epic Quest. And then the fourth phase came along after I left. And so I became the field producer for that. And that was a 4-year project where, we filmed all over the world, but the main objective was here in Alaska, an area in Prince William Sound that we called So Far Gone. And we tried for 4 years to get at it and rode all over the state, but we failed. We failed in the ultimate objective. You know, my partner.
Accessibility or what? What was the?
Well, it was an area that was illegal for helicopters, and so fixed wings were grandfathered in, but it's a wilderness area, and so anything that we wanted to do had to be climbed. You know, Red Bull doesn't do anything small. You know, we had a crew, just the film crew was like 18 people.
Wow.
And, you know, it was on myself and one of my best homies, Ted Purdy, to give the no or no go. And it was just never set up to where we wouldn't kill everybody in the crew.
Yeah.
And so the only people who ever got to lay sticks on it was me and Ted. Like, you know, we'd go out there every other week and dig holes and look at things and go, oh, no good. We got to go somewhere else. And sometimes you go out there and go, don't take any more steps.
Oh.
Don't do it.
Yeah, walk backwards in your footsteps.
So you would chopper into like a borderline and then hike up?
No choppers. We were using Super Cubs and dropping. If you sift through my Instagram, there's a lot of that area out there. But, you know, it's about trying to make the objective happen, and there's actually a certain beauty in failure. I mean, those sound like words that make you feel better, you know, after you didn't do it. But it really is about the journey, you know. And every season that we would continue to hammer at it and take a left turn and go, all right, pivot. Here's option B. Here's option C. Here's option D. And you know, what's it like in Valdez right now? Let's go look at the Alaska Range, and you know, can we figure out how to set a camp out there that is a self-supporting camp right now? Can't, you know, like let's do that. And you know, you've got all these different athletes with very busy schedules in motion and trying to make all those things work. And we ended up making a good film. It wasn't the story we wanted to tell, but it was a story.
Where can people find this?
Red Bull TV. Yeah.
YouTube
or YouTube, I'm sure.
The fourth phase.
The fourth phase.
Yeah. Tell me, So Far Gone is the riding area. What's the nickname? What's up with that? That's such a mysterious, cool.
That's a Travisism. You know.
It's like a little personal thing he called it?
Yeah.
A Travisism?
A Travisism?
There's a lot of Travisisms.
So Far Gone, he called was it like a valley, or was it like a little set of
No,
mountains,
it's in College Fjord. It's in Prince William Sound.
Okay.
It's you know, you've got the Harvard and the Yale Glacier right there in the mountain formation, and so you're looking up at the backside of Mount Marcus Baker.
Okay.
Up there, and the formations out there are just absolutely humbling, like mind-numbingly huge. And he had a micro formation in mind that is a dwarf among everything out there. But when you get into it, it's just that everything's so big, right? You know, you have no sense of scale. When you get into it, it's just all these super fat, ribbed, fluted spines that you'd have to climb. We couldn't get it done. We had a bunch of objectives out there: Camp A, Camp B, Camp C, and you know, the plan is to go park your ass out there for a month and work on it,
be able to bring supplies in and like
it's a whole logistical shit show, and it's stuff that has to happen in small windows of opportunity,
right, when weather's good and everything.
Yeah, and you also have to be super prepared for disaster in an area where there is no help, and you can't bring in a heli. You know, realistically, if there's that kind of problem, you bring in the heli and you say, "I'm sorry" later. But
what's the involvement with the Coast Guard? Like, do they have to be fully informed and given like a report that you guys are doing this just in case?
No,
they got to come, or
no? That's all Forest Service land out there. It's a wilderness. It's a wilderness study area, which means it hasn't been designated as a wilderness, but it carries all the same rules as a wilderness.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. You ever put in applications trying to access it?
That's what I do.
Okay.
that's my specialty these days in my ripe old wise age is making really, really difficult things happen in very hard places, and
connecting with the right people and
make
getting
sure that
paperwork.
everybody comes out
Yeah.
in one piece at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay.
And to make sure that it meets your budget and your timeline, and if it can't do those things, to be honest with you about it and say, no, there's no way in hell you can do this, go somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that happened up in college. I mean, that was you guys probably pushed that to every limit you could to access that little piece of heaven to make your film. And,
and Travis is not an easy guy to say no to.
Oh, he's persistent.
He's driven. He's a visionary. He's literally the best in the world at what he does.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't like to fail. He doesn't want to fail. And he really doesn't want to fail because somebody's telling him no.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, extra motivation.
probably this doesn't play for audio, but I can probably show you guys a couple of photos from out there. Yeah, so that's what I do. Now I do a lot of one-off stuff. I think I told you before we started here, I'm at least, I don't know if it'll actually happen, but I've been asked to put together a plan to do super ultra cold weather training location.
You touched on it right before we hit the record button. You touched on it.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Elaborate a little bit on that. Like, what is?
I actually
is that a day job now? I mean,
I don't have a lot to elaborate on.
Okay.
Other than that, I get a lot of random projects. So
Okay.
This is for the Navy SEALs. They want to do 40 below cold weather training, survival, like that type of thing. But they don't want to come in on the front end and dick around with setup. So I'll go set up a location for them and leave, and then let them go crawl around and shoot at shit in the cold, and then come back and clean it up. Or I get a call and say, all right, well, there's a Belgian crew that wants to go from the Pacific Ocean to the Arctic Ocean. And, can we do that? And is there a local crew that you can bring to bear? Or, and then I do certain amount of photography. Like I make a certain amount of living with my camera. I get the occasional feature in National Geographic when you're lucky, and do some catalog work and a lot of landscape work and a lot of mountain. Like my Instagram is nothing but
mountains and mountains and mountains.
It's a love. It's a love affair with mountains. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No
Lots
doubt.
of mountains.
Yeah.
Owens Never Sleeps is the Instagram, guys. You definitely got to go check out a bunch of these pictures of
there's one really cool.
I bet you look at mountains just different than the average person. I mean, you're looking at it like, oh man, someone could probably hit that, or someone could do that, or we could climb that, or I'd never fuck with that. Whereas like the average person just looks in awe, like, ooh, that looks crazy. Whereas you're probably like, this looks like we could probably do something here.
Yeah, I look at the elemental end of mountains is what fascinates me. I think that mountains speak to me in a way that almost nothing else does. They speak of power that you can feel in your bones, the power of formation, like the incredible amount of earth energy that it took to push those fuckers up right out of the ground.
Yeah.
The power of potential energy of all the snow locked in there, just waiting to come down, and it will. With the force of 10,000 sticks of dynamite on every slope. And then the life-sustaining power of the snow that is held there that comes down, eventually melts, feeds the freshwater systems, powers all of our lives, recycles, goes back up into the air, comes back down into the mountains again. Without them, we're fucked. We're super fucked. And every face has a story. Every face has a face.
Every face has a face.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
They are incredible, especially when you get a chance to go out and live in them for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And be reminded how unforgiving they are and how minuscule you are in the grand scheme.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, while you look those up, we'll give a quick shout out to some of the sponsors here. Tailored Restoration, 24-hour emergency services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold damage, post-emergency cleaning, remodeling, and the aftermath, including burst pipes, overflowing toilets, downed trees, fires, pet accidents, and vandalism. Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you anytime, day or night. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
TreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask their bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Serrano's Mexican Grill. Since 2008, Serrano's Anchorage's own new generation of old cocina. Their menu showcases the passion and love of their rich heritage and unique family recipes that have been passed down through generations. Serrano's goal is to embrace and display traditional flavors using the best ingredients that are available. They focus on making everything from scratch daily. In-house menu includes handcrafted corn tortillas, Serrano salsas, carne asada marinades, and chorizo. But don't take their word for it. Experience the tradition and sabor for yourself. Locations on Tudor and Northern Lights. The tequila bar is at both locations now. Check out their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com. Man,
those look fake, man.
Jeez.
See the face on the face?
The face on the
See
face.
his mouth?
Yep. So we're looking at some pictures of Chris's before we did the ad read, you're talking about the face on the face. Like a literal face on the face of the mountain.
Mount Marcus Baker.
That's not Marcus Baker.
That's not Marcus Baker.
It's near there. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Right by the area.
So I did do a project on Marcus Baker, or actually right next to Marcus Baker this last spring with Jeremy Jones and Raphael Pays, an area called Mount Thor, which is the second highest peak in the Chugach.
Okay.
And those guys pulled off a sub-zero trip in June. Jeremy called me and he's like, Owens, I got some time coming together here. And I want to come to Alaska. And I said, when? And he said, tomorrow. I said, what?
Well, what time?
You bringing your crew? And he's like, yeah, where can we go? I was like, oh, shit. Like, you don't even know where you're going. Okay, let's figure this out. What do you need? He's like, I don't know. It depends on where we're going, but I'm sure you have it. So, all right. Here's one. There's 2 airplanes in there. I know this doesn't work for podcasts.
It's okay. Yeah. They're listening. We can embed these into in the video.
Totally. So you were able to swing it? You were able to get them up here?
Yeah, we got her done.
Oh, I see the other one now.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
How does something like that happen so soon? I mean, it's just a reliable source in every angle of all that. Crazy logistics.
That's the idea. I mean, I have a lot of their stuff too. Like the TGR Fantasy Camp lives in my back cave.
Okay. So you have all that equipment ready to just throw up, and
I think we got to connect that to the TV.
Yeah.
Can you display that up to there? We'll connect that up there to get that going.
You can text
so
it to me.
People can see it.
How do we connect that? Is there an AirPlay?
Yeah, it'll just go to display.
I'm pulling this off a Dropbox right now. I'm not positive that I can.
We'll see if we can get it going here, so people that are watching on YouTube can see it.
Well, and it's pretty crazy that you actually had the weather that cooperated for you to do it too. I mean, to even put it all together in such a short.
Well, we did some sitting around.
Okay. Waiting around for the right.
There's always some sitting around. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, which actually is really bad for the liver in general rules.
Oh yeah.
Let me see that. Maybe I'll be able to.
It's a whiskey thing.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of morning.
Yeah.
Breakfast beers, right?
Yeah.
Breakfast beers.
Some Caribou calls about 7:30 a.m.
Oh, I know what we can do here.
Well, the thing is you've been doing mountain stuff this long. You meet and get to know and the best people in the world. And really, that's what it's all about in the long run is, you share experiences with people that are as honest as it gets, whether it's good or bad. Sometimes things go to shit and it's bad. The highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The mountains provide a superior life, but they charge a heavy tax in the lives of really good people. Like, part of this journey for me has been losing a lot of friends. A lot of friends, like a couple a year.
Right.
Man.
On the reg. We had a terrible accident here in Alaska last year, and all of those guys were my friends. It's and it never, frequency doesn't diminish the power of the feelings that go with that. So, the mountains giveth and the mountains taketh away.
Yeah.
For sure.
I thought I'd be able to find how you can display this thing.
I mean, it's kind of like you enter a realm where you are fully accepting that the risk involved for what you get and take from it, in terms of like living life to the fullest, it's like worth it every time. It's like you put the coin in the every time, it's you're gambling. In human nature, man, we're gamblers, man. I'd say more. I don't know, but
I thought I knew what to do there, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe if you send it to Brandon, though, he could throw it up there.
Yeah.
If you just airdrop it to him.
I can show you.
We could do that. That'd be great.
I can just give you a link to the folder, and then you can buzz through.
There we go.
Yeah?
That'll work.
Okay. That I think I can do.
You guys doing that?
I thought you could go. We did before where you put the phone to the TV, but I don't remember what the.
Yeah, you got to mirror it. It's, sometimes it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So, Chris, do you get to ride much?
I haven't been in the last couple of years. I rode my ass off for decades.
Yeah. I mean, lately, I guess, I is what I'm getting at.
I sneak in some touring turns every once in a while, but right now I've been on kind of the injured reserve list.
The IR.
Type your thing in there.
Yeah.
I've got
that's a good one, man.
I've got 3 ruptured discs, and I'd like to continue to walk. So I'm a little bit more selective about when I go out and how I go out.
Yeah.
You gotta kind of save your reserves. For me, I'm gonna try that one.
There you go.
For me, these days it's about getting ready for the fall and moose hunting and caribou hunting and getting off the grid in other ways.
Yeah,
because I know that when I finish that moose hunt and I compress these discs, I'm not going to be able to feel my arms for several weeks, and that's how it is. I mean,
just kind of sacrifice, just pure hell.
You just the older you get, the less and less you're on the sharp end, and I told you that I want to be Dave Hamry when I grow up, and well, Dave was wise. Dave got off the sharp end
early,
really pretty early, and gave the best advice that anybody could ever give, and I think that these days that's a lot of what I have to offer is I know how to get things done. I know how to disappear, and I know how to make other people disappear and make sure that they come back and that they accomplish their goals. And it doesn't really matter if it's going out and in whites and making sure that people get into polar bears, or that they can pull the ice cores that they want out of glacial terrain for a science project, or to do military training, or to do film work. I love doing film work.
Yeah.
But in the end, it all boils down to the same core, and it's about getting the fuck out of Dodge and disappearing and going going someplace that is authentic and wild and real and all those types of things. And the post Chugach Powder Guides Epic Quest Life really provided a lot for me for that. And sometimes you deal with just douches, but you still end up being in real places.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you for paying for me to be here today.
Okay.
I'll be retreating to the edge of camp now.
Yeah, I'll be over here.
But I got paid to set these guys up to do the copper and recreate the Abercrombie mission down the copper from Slana to the $1 Million Bridge in a wooden dory. Like, who gets to do that? Right? Like,
my question is, how do they know that? How do they contact you? Do they know, like, is it just word of mouth? Because if you go to your Instagram or any of your website and stuff like that, you're not like advertising any of that stuff. It's just like you're like the secret man behind the scenes there.
It's behind the scenes.
It's a network. There's certain things that like location scouts want to do and certain things that they don't want to put their hands on, and those are usually things somebody goes,
yeah.
Why don't you talk to Owens? He's dumb enough to.
I know a guy.
Call this guy.
Yeah, and I have access.
Oh, you're gonna want to call Chris on that one.
To a equally stupid group of professionals that are usually willing to engage on making those types of things happen. So, yeah.
I want to get into you brought up the National Geographic thing on getting a photo in with those guys. Mm-hmm. Is that like something you're submitting something to them and you're like, this is a cool shot, or is it something where they're like they find you, or how does that work?
I've had it happen both ways. Like somehow they found one of my African shots in Namibia of a place called Dedevle, which means the dead marsh. Mm-hmm. And it's this white clay pan in the middle of the Namib Desert with these petrified acacia trees and 1,000-meter dunes surrounding the whole thing. And they found one of my shots, I think, probably through Your Shot. I submit a certain amount of stuff to Your Shot, which is a National Geographic submission thing.
Okay.
And I've won Your Shot a few times with different shots, but not that one.
Oh,
but
okay.
It got them going through my stuff, and they ended up taking that one, and then they, I had sent through a mutual contact who said, "Hey, you gotta send these guys this shot," one that I call Mordor, but it was actually in the scouting process for the fourth phase. I did a lot of flying around in the Aleutian Islands, and ended up on Unamak Island, and there's a mountain there called Isanotski, and the locals call it Ragged Jack, and so that's Mordor. So they picked up that one right there.
Oh wow!
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
That's like straight
Mordor?
Yeah.
That's like what it is.
Lord of the Rings. Like that's where they made the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Isanotski and Shishaldin are within 9 miles of each other, and Shishaldin's the biggest volcano on the train. It's a perfect.
We gotta find a way to put this up on that TV.
Cinder cone. Well, these are all in that link that you just sent yourself, so if you can figure that out.
I'm working on it.
So you've got Isanotski or Shishaldin, which is this perfect cinder cone, and Isanotski, which is a stratovolcano, so it's had the shit blown out of it. And it's all like pinnacled out. And
are you like in a helicopter when you take that shot there?
I was in a Piper Comanche.
Okay.
And at that time, Pavlov was exploding. And so I diverted that airplane, and we went and circled Pavlov as it was erupting and blowing its stack.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and so I got a chance. So, yeah, CNN picked up all that stuff.
It must have been nerve-wracking, huh? Flying around that thing?
It was really cool. You know, like, you don't often get a Comanche to yourself, you know, with a camera and the time and budget to go, yeah, man, make another circle.
Yeah.
Yes, stay out of the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get in the ash. And that, you know, that's the great thing about like, so the fourth phase was a 4-year project, but I worked on it for a full year, just scouting, before anybody else became involved. And so, you know, they were at one point focusing on Attu and wanting to ride some of the mountains out on Attu. And it's like, you guys, that's way out there. Like, you can't just take a helicopter out there. You could park a boat with a heli deck, maybe. But if you didn't want to commit to a boat with a heli deck, we'd have to find some way to get the helicopters out there. So we're talking about, like, you know, there's an old military strip there. You'd get a smaller airplane and you'd drop a bunch of people in there to prepare an airstrip, and then you'd take in like a C-130 with 2 helicopters disassembled in the back, find a way to put that C-130 on skis and jam it in there. And their response to something like that, I mean, like, they're a company who sent a dude into space for a publicity stunt, right?
Yeah. Where they dove down.
You know, like, so, you know, you deal with, you know, most of the companies, Warren Miller, TGR, Matchstick, you know, whoever, have very real budget limitations, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, Red Bull's like, okay, tell me more. So you're saying it's really hard. Yeah, dude,
We got
it's
guys
really
for
hard.
that.
Tell me
Well,
more.
there's a story in that itself. Can you go down that road? Can you find me a C-130 on skis? We'll fund you for another 6 months to chase this down. You know, that's a great, you know, when you're in the logistics business and like trying to figure out how to make big,
fucking fun is
wild
that?
visions happen. Those are the kind of people you want to work with. You know, it's great. And to go all the way down that road, and then for them to go like, okay, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've chased this down as far as it can go. And to them, that effort is worth it. You know, it's not a waste. It's not like they bap you in the back of the head after that and go like, that should have worked.
Well, that's where they find their masterpieces.
Well, how do you find, like, your value in that?
I get paid to go a lot of places that other people don't get to go.
Yeah. That's, I mean, but
My
how do
whole
you,
life has been about getting other people to pay for the shit that I want to do.
Got it. So you've been, like, dealing with that for years, and so eventually now when big companies come, you can just be like, well,
I have a dream trip, and I'm not doing it till I figure out how to get somebody else to pay for it.
got it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Like, I want to
cover
go.
it, to bring it back somehow, to
I just want somebody else to pay
guide
for
it.
it. I will absolutely whore myself in a lot of ways in order to make it happen. So
pull the stockings up tight and just get out there, or what?
So yeah, I want to start in Santiago, Chile, right? Go work my way through Patagonia, fly fish my way through Patagonia,
Okay.
end up in Ushuaia, Argentina, right? And there's a little sailboat there called the Australis. It's about a 9-person boat, and sail across the Drake Passage.
So you already got the boat in mind.
Oh yeah, I know how to do this.
This is fully mapped out.
Yeah, I know. I just have to sell it, right? and then sail across the Drake Passage in the Australis, go ski tour. 3,000 foot rides and ski down into penguins and leopard seals, right? And ski tour around Antarctica in the Antarctic Spring.
Wow.
And then do the whole thing in reverse. Right, go back to Ushuaia, and then ski tour around there, then go fly fish my way back through Patagonia and end up back in Santiago, Chile. I know exactly what to do. I know all of the pieces. I know everything that needs to happen. I just have to get somebody to pay for it.
Yep, just need the check written.
Yeah. Sounds like a rather expensive endeavor.
Yeah, well, it sounds like there's some options there. I mean, it could be any kind of fishing.
And there are folks out there that know that you're wanting to do this, and
oh yeah, I won't shut up about it.
Okay.
He's here telling us about it. Like maybe someone's gonna hear it here.
Might get some rich guy in Europe. He's gonna call you right up and it's going down.
I know the dude to get me through Patagonia. Like I know exactly how to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, what's Red Bull got to say? You want to give them the full? Is it enough up their alley? It's not extreme enough, maybe, or
you got to get the right personalities involved. The timing has to be right. You know, it's always in competition with other projects, and
can you just like some wicked mountain bike races or
my little
skydiving?
Travel orgasm is not necessarily somebody's best film.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they got their own ideas.
Your
with
idea
that.
of it.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at here at this picture? I know that you showed me that on the phone. We got the 2 planes.
So you're looking at a formation up off of the Harvard Glacier, and that peak up there is the backside of Marcus Baker.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And so these dragon spines are just
dragon spines. They are.
Yeah.
You look at the way they
dragons
like
exist,
down.
and then it takes you a little while to see it, but there's a second Super Cub. So as we worked in this area,
I see him. He's coming at us.
He's actually circling like this.
He's tail to us. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, you know, our protocol, because as I alluded to earlier, it's all about repeatable safety protocols that not only get your other people home, but get yourself home after every trip. Otherwise, it wasn't a good trip.
Yeah. If you don't go home, it's not a good trip.
So we always
changes things up.
My partner Ted and I always flew out there in separate Super Cubs, and so you literally have a wingman.
Yeah.
One of us in each plane. One of us with our own with a pilot. We're in the back of those planes so that we can concentrate on shooting.
Yeah.
Right. You're photographing the living hell out of everything so they can go in and analyze it all later. And then we're landing specific spots, doing snow science, digging pits, stopping, breathing, eating, having a shot of whiskey.
Sure.
And
soaking it up.
You know, just scratching your head. You know, you got to go. You know, objective A, objective B, objective C.
Yeah.
Like, can we do it here? Can we do it here?
Run through all the scenarios.
Right. And no. And then sometimes it's like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Right. You know, like,
start the engines. Let's go.
Right. So the red plane was our friend Austin Johnson, who flew out there with us a lot, and then Ben Knapp is in the white Super Cub. Both of them incredibly talented pilots, and unfortunately we lost Ben about 2 years ago.
Oh, terrible.
Sorry to hear that.
What do you for the photography geeks out there? What are you shooting these epic pictures on?
I was shooting most of
iPhone
these
7 or
I was shooting most of these on a Nikon D800.
Okay.
And I still have my trusty old girl, but I shoot a lot of mirrorless these days.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
so you can flip through those.
Yeah,
there's a lot from that area.
So this was in you guys were looking
that's Prince William Sound near So Far Gone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
In College Fjord.
Got it. What a beautiful day you guys headed out there.
Oh yeah. We're out there once a week all winter long for 4 years.
Wow.
Oh my God! Wow.
And were you guys landing somewhere over there to do some science?
All over the place. Yeah, we had about 12.5 different potential objectives out there in case So Far Gone itself wasn't working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it won't let me scroll through them here.
I don't know what to tell you, my man.
Yeah, but that's all Prince William Sound. Those are those epic peaks you see just glistening in the edge. I mean, you can see these when you're coming in from Montague.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so you guys were flying around these looking for spots to ski.
Well, we knew what the spots were.
Yeah.
You know, it's a matter of repeatedly collecting data on the same spots. And because it's not it doesn't help you to know what it looks like right now. You got to know what it looked like in January and in mid-January and in late January and February, so that you have some idea what kind of monster might be lurking underneath the beautiful surface that you're looking at right now.
Gotcha.
You know,
What's building on that?
Yeah, so you're recording conditions all the way through the year. You're you're recording things in a manner like we are out there long before it's viable, even potentially viable, to be out there with the crew and ride anything, so that you know when you're looking at it in March, we ought to be looking a couple of meters down for this kind of layer, because we know that it was like this back then, because we were standing on that crunchy.
Yeah, when
bullshit.
It rained this time.
Did it heal?
Froze
did
back
it
up.
not heal? And you know, if you don't do that all the time, you get to a point, you know, at this age in my career where, you know, I'm not doing that every day, so I'm bringing somebody with me that is doing that every day.
Okay.
You know, you can't, if you
Are
get
you a little out of, would you say like out of practice maybe?
No, I mean, it's just something that you either do every day or you don't do it. Right. And so you may still have the knowledge, but
yeah, the basics.
You damn well better be humble about it. And so Ted Purdy is my go-to guy for that kind of stuff these days, because he's still very much on the sharp end of the spear.
Yeah.
Nice.
And, you know, you either live on the sharp end or you give it up.
Yeah.
And there's no in between.
There's no gray area.
No.
Yeah, you guys don't fuck around with the rules. There's like these basic
like
laws
basic
of like
principles of operation. Yeah.
I mean, it's great to know, because I mean, quite frankly, these people are hiring you to secure their experience in their lives. I'm sure there's obviously certain things you were doing where everybody understands the risk involved, including the client, because you probably wouldn't have qualified for such a adventure if he wasn't experienced enough or in that realm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You know, in film work, it's a little different, because you're not going to go into the mountains and tell Jeremy Jones what he can do. You're not going to go tell Travis Rice what he can do. Right, because they are superhuman beings, basically, who are capable of way more than the average human. And so it's not your place to do that. It's your place to say, all right, this area is going to act like this. Don't get yourself in here. Don't fuck up in this area, because if you do, we can't get your body till May.
Got it.
Right.
Condition predictions.
Kind of gave them those options too.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And then to add a sanity buffer, like, you have this ability, but your sound guy only has this has this ability, and you know, a lot of times dealing with professional athletes, they can get very myopic and get tunnel vision about what it is that they want to accomplish and how it is that they're going to do that, and forget that there's a guy with an 80-pound pack that has to hang his ass off a cliff to take a picture of it, right?
Yeah.
And you got to get that person out of there and safely back to camp.
Yeah.
Before nightfall, and you know, at this time of year, like out there, dealing with incredibly short days.
Oh my goodness. Crazy
and
weather too.
So that's the job right there, is hoovering all of the details and making some semblance of order and a plan out of it, and being willing to look at somebody who desperately does not want to hear you say no, and say, no, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
when these
good for anybody.
Yeah, when these ideas like come up, is this something that whoever the crazy guy is, Travis or whoever it is he's like, hey, I'm looking for something new. Do you have any ideas? Or is he like already had this in mind, and he's like, who can come do the pre-game legwork to make it happen? Or are these guys being approached all the time, like, hey, have you thought about this? And this is kind of crazy. This would be cool.
Yeah.
It depends. In this particular circumstance, this was something that Travis knew about. They had in his mind. the whole idea in this film is to tell the story of the hydrologic cycle starting in Tahiti and the story of water and its ultimate terminus. And so you're following this North Atlantic current through Tahiti, Japan, the Kuro Mountains in Russia, and culminating in Prince William Sound, Alaska, which is where it culminates. Yeah. And, Jimmy Chin worked on this film with us. And, we really had a hell of an all-star crew, and it was a vision and a story that Travis himself desperately wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And then the crew kind of comes together, who's good at this, who's good at that, who's available. And then there's usually a couple of people that are pervasive glue throughout the entire span of the years that it takes to make it. And a lot of the other people in and out are very transient. They're in for 18 days and they're gone. So, yeah.
So there's a mixed bag of a core group that maybe kind of cycles through or rotates out through the culmination of that process, and then there's like smoke jumpers are just like in and out of there. Is that kind of the constant cycle of something like that?
Sure, yeah. Like that's not a bad analogy. Like you've got your smoke jumpers who are in and out doing the job, but you have your hazard communications people who work it all year long, and you have your budget people who work it all year long and make sure that the smoke jumpers have everything that they need and that there's a way to get them out, right? Because the smoke jumper doesn't say, what are the details of my extraction vehicle?
Yeah.
Right. Like, what did that cost you and where did it come from? Like, they want to know that it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accomplish their goal. Get in and out of there.
And through all of the heaviness, you have the most fucking fun you've ever had in your life.
Yeah.
And we played full-scale hockey games in ice caves in the middle of glacial terrain in the mountains.
Oh, that's awesome.
You flew the crew in there and like,
let's get an otter full of hockey gear and instruments and beer.
Yeah.
Hey, we flew over this little cave. Let's check this thing out.
Right, yeah. It's totally flat in there. Let's play hockey. I have a great idea. Let's play hockey. Yeah. Right. Everybody hit the brakes. This is going to take 2 days to pull this shit together. Okay, we're playing hockey. Yeah.
Oh, my God. So the behind-the-scenes experiences and things that you went through with this is like more than maybe the film itself, right? Like, I mean, it's...
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. There's just like living life and life experiences, things that you just can't like script. And
yeah. And that's kind of the disappointment in a finished product because it doesn't... You wish you could share with the world what your experience in that was, and it's not the same story.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a film, it has to have an arc. It has to have a beginning. It has to have some kind of crescendo. It has to have an end with a specific prescribed feeling to it, and how are you going to accomplish that? And in the meantime, over that 4 or 5 year time span, you've got all of these humps and valleys and crushing blows, and like Travis had 2 major injuries within those 4 years, and he fell off a 100-foot cliff. You're looking at your friend and going like, "Oh my God, is he going to come back? What's going on here?" And all of those things, none of those stories ever get told.
Yeah. Yeah.
About the beauty of the bone broth that you've cooked up for this person that's going to heal them. That doesn't ever make the
show.
Doesn't ever make
the video.
Show. Yeah.
Well, there's got to be so many hundreds and hundreds of hours of video that never makes the show.
Oh,
I mean, just insane amount of.
Oh yeah.
It's all saved somewhere too, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's there. I'm sure there'll be a massive documentary at some time.
The archive of the So Far Gone.
Yeah. Yeah, but in a lot of ways you get the you get the same kinds of really authentic life shots and things that aren't that big budget and epic. And, you know, one of the best times I ever had was doing a shoe catalog with this guy named Floris van Bommel. He's a shoe manufacturer out of the Netherlands. Yeah. And he travels the world with his homies, and he's his own star in his catalogs, right? And he looks like James Bond, right? And they're like, yeah, we're going to hire you to just take us all over Alaska, and we're going to shoot our shoe catalog, and, you know, let's set a loose plan and then take diversions and whatever. And, you know, like, oh, fuck, I get a blank card to take you guys wherever I want in Alaska. Really? Is that how this is going to work?
Hey, sign me up. I'll make those shoes look good.
Yeah.
We'll get you right in the right angle over here next to this glacier.
yeah, exactly. And they're like totally with it. Like his photographer and his producer are also his best friends, right? Yeah. And so he's got his own little entourage, Floris. So we're in Toke. And there's a bar there called the Husky.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And we're in the Husky and shooting some pool and getting kind of hammered. And there's this guy in there, and he looks like Chilkoot Charlie. Right? He's got the white beard. Yeah. He's got the bright,
guy that should be living in Toke?
Yeah, he's got the bright red nose. You know, full alcohol-enhanced skin. And his Make America Great Again shirt. And he gets the wind that we're shooting something. And he says, hey, what kind of movie are you boys making? And Floris, without missing a beat in his European accent, says, well, we are shooting gay porn. And this guy stops for a second, and he looks at Floris, and he looks at me, and he looks at the bartender, and he says, yep, I like that. What the fuck? Right, and then he looks at the bartender, and he says, hey, boy, buy these boys a round of duck farts. And then you got a European Floris who's like, and what is a duck fart? It's just like ridiculous moments that are part of an authentic experience, right? You can't replicate them. You can't predict them.
Yeah.
You can't.
Just sticks in there with you.
Yeah.
Is duck fart? Is that a uniquely Alaskan shot?
I'm not a duck fart expert.
I'm not either, but every time back in the days when I used to
had
do
some
that,
in high school probably. But
yeah, I don't know, man. I've brought it up in different
Lake
places.
Louise Lodge, man. That's where that's like our drink of at the lodge.
The duck fart?
Duck farts, yeah. Just keep them coming. The Irish cream and the whiskey. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. I haven't had a duck fart.
And butterscotch schnapps or
it's
something.
It's a fun drunk, man.
The duck fart?
Yeah, it's like a warm lodgy,
yeah, it's very lodgy.
Bar roadhouse shot, you know what I mean? Like you would jump off your snow machine and go into the lodge and have a duck fart, you know what I mean? It's just kind of goes hand in hand, right?
All the listeners everywhere outside Alaska are like, what the fuck
are they
duck
talking
fart?
about?
Dude, actually look it up real quick.
Yeah.
I want to say I've been places and they're like, what in the fuck is that? They never even heard of it. Bartenders never heard of it. Oh, what? It says right there. Why is okay?
Oh,
what the fuck is a duck fart? Yeah. Have at it. We're gonna rabbit hole here under the duck fart. Dude.
Oh my God, dude!
Duck fart shot. Kahlua. Okay, shot. Kahlua, Bailey's. Go back to what it is.
I fucked it up.
It's a fun and tasty layered drink for parties.
Yes.
Oh, it is very layered. Man, I haven't had one. I'd probably say at least 10 years.
Duck fart is layered with a shot of Kahlua, Bailey's, Irish cream, and whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're really good at making them, they layer really nice like that. But you have to give it time to settle, too. Like, you can't just, like, pour them up and drink them. They'll kind of
okay, so they put the Kahlua on the bottom, then they put the Bailey's, and then they put the whiskey. So it's like a triple-colored deal.
Yeah,
all separated.
I mean, I can't say that I remember seeing one. And
I've never seen one like that. No.
Yeah, it's like mixed all. It's already.
They're
all
not
mixed
serving
up.
them like that up at the Pile.
Or Lake Louise Lodge for that
or
matter.
Lake Louise Lodge or any of these other lodges.
Oh man,
Just hit it and go.
just like old Chilkoot Charlie's in Toke, right? Oh, man, duck farts. Like, of course you'd order duck farts, you old codger. I like that.
Put in where's duck fart invented?
Oh my
Duck
god,
fart from where or something like that.
duck fart. Origin.
Where was the duck fart invented? Right there.
Oh, I got the origin.
A bar in Alaska. Fuck yeah, boys, huh?
Dude.
Said to have originated in a bar in Alaska on a slow night when the bartender and an older woman were testing recipes. The women drank a few here and these and then came up with the name duck fart. The rest of the story goes that the woman had some, well, gassiness about her that she was quite noisy about.
She's like, mix this up. Oh,
Hey.
this is giving me gas.
Guys, we got ranch and duck farts, okay, from Alaska.
Wow, dude.
It is. See, I thought, because I've been to places and they've never heard of it. I mean, back
Alaska
in like my 20s.
invented ranch dressing and duck farts. Man,
Hey, guys, you guys are epic out here, okay?
Dude, Alaska's, that's it, man. The number 4 Niner.
Number four,
That's what we do out here. Create shots
create shots.
and dip for your pepperoni pizza.
The duck fart. Man, dude.
Oh.
I kind of want one of those.
Yeah, you know, like, it's one of those things where you, like, that's what you're drinking tonight. Like, you're going to drink beers and shit, and then, like,
Shots
a
of
round of the just comes through about 20 minutes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the rest is history, and, you know, you got to be wearing wool socks and have ice snow bite, you know, like frostbite-esque, like streaks on your cheek, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
there's certain things you got to have when you're drinking those
All
things.
right. Did you read that there, Owen?
Originated in a bar in Alaska. Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Right.
Sounds about right, doesn't it? I think Chilkoot Charlie probably made it up.
Probably that
all
bar
right.
out there.
Husky's,
Probably the
huh?
Husky.
I've never been, man. I don't think I've ever been to Toke. If I did, I was just a little kid, but I have never actually like been up there.
To Toke? That was where
Yeah.
we used to go caribou hunting, me and my dad.
Yeah, I've done the Toke
The
cutoff
40
a lot.
mile herd.
Yeah.
So I was just in Adak, and I met the guy
Oh,
who
you broke the ice. I want to talk about
who
that, man. Let
manages
it rip.
the 40 mile herd.
Okay.
He
Okay.
was the manager for the 40 mile herd, and then the gal he was there with is the range master in Delta. And I was like, I'm so glad to meet both of you.
Did he?
Just gems.
You might not know, but did he mention anything about the Nelchina herd, like going into that herd? Because that seems to be like the last couple of years.
No, our discussions were more about his tug and pull with the Canadians.
Oh,
'Cause-
because they're crossing over there and they're crossing back.
Right. And so the Canadians have one management philosophy, and Alaska has another management philosophy. And it was a pretty interesting conversation. He was a pretty dialed in dude.
I wonder what Canada's take on that is, or how they do
I have
that.
no idea, actually.
Those seasons are pretty similar.
What did he say? Did he say?
You know, I actually had a lot of whiskey in my system,
Okay,
so
well,
I,
duck farts.
I can't
Yeah.
tell you exactly what he said,
duck farts.
but it sounds like a regular, ongoing, kind of tug and pull, where you've got very seasoned professionals on both sides dealing with the same issue, and it seemed to me that the Canadians were for, let's say, a larger percentage of preservation of the herd versus the Alaskan pressure, which is, one of the only real road accessible caribou herds, right? And this a bit of a clamor in Alaska to be able to get at that herd in a real way without wiping it out. And it's, it's a balancing act for sure.
So maybe we're
Can you
looked
pull
at
that
as
up real quick? Pull up the
Yeah.
40-mile herd migration.
We'll do.
Because I'm curious on the road access in Canada to that herd is probably nil.
I don't know.
I know up here
It's very limited.
I guess in the big scheme of things it's limited here too, but
Yeah.
I'm just curious on what it shows. And I know that there's a similar deal. I was talking to a sheep biologist, and the same deal with like the Fannin sheep, the sheep that are on the east coast of the Brooks Range that will go into Canada and back.
Right.
And they have the same problems there.
Yeah. So he was there hunting birds, emperor goose, and ptarmigan and ducks.
Yeah.
But
does it show a map?
Yeah, I was looking for. They didn't have exactly that.
Animals on the
Wish I'd
move.
known. I have looked into this years ago, but
what if you got images?
see if I can.
Oh, there
get
we go. There's a little map. Pull that colored one up in the middle.
Right here.
No, right above it. Up one. Yep, there.
Yeah. Get an expansion on this. Yeah. Yeah, and I've never hunted that either, and I'm kind of good with it because it seems like it's too much. All the management behind it and everything, man. I'm just not.
Well, we went on that float hunt.
It. That would be cool. I mean,
We did a moose float hunt our second time we've done it up there in that area, and it's a registration caribou. And the first time we went, we were moose hunting, and we didn't know that it was going to open for a registration caribou hunt. We just seen monster, huge caribou all over the place, and so we're like, all right, next time we're going to time it so that we can caribou hunt and then moose hunt, because that caribou, it like closes right on like the 30th or something. So we went early enough so we can be back in there. And of course we didn't see shit. We saw 5 caribou.
This season.
Yeah, this year. That's how it goes. It seems like everything's kind of moving around, like switching up. It's where they're at. And
it's always with caribou. It's always about where they're at. I mean,
yeah.
Adak, we got our asses kicked.
Yeah. Let's get into that Adak.
Yeah. Man, I want to know.
Well,
this is 2021. You did.
This was
Adak?
this December.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very recent.
Yeah, a few weeks ago.
Is that
Wow.
Is that the season? Is it any time?
I think it starts becoming viable around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And I was presented. So I have a couple of hunting partners, and they're both also Chris's.
The triple Chris's, or
Chris
what?
Owens, Chris Gills, and Chris McMichael, and we are Chris Cubed.
Chris Cubed.
Yeah. So Chris Gills' dad delivered me when I was born.
Okay.
So
Whoa.
he is my oldest friend. And Chris McMichael has been my friend for like 25 years.
All right.
And so we always hunt together. And Gills had been trying to get me to do an Adak thing for a few years. And the original target was Thanksgiving, but I decided that I would like to continue to live and not abandon my wife on Thanksgiving.
There you go. Good choice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Done that before, and it doesn't really go over well.
Nope. Yeah, I did that
Going
once.
hunting on Thanksgiving.
Family's
not exactly excited about that.
No, they're
Yeah, I
Great
made
experience.
an emergency
Heard a lot about it.
scramble home from a moose hunt for the birth of my second child, which was also very unpopular
Yeah.
for the sparing at that time. It was like, boys, we're getting in the raft right now.
We got to
Gotta go.
We have to go. It's dark. I don't care. I
just got an
am
English
happy
message.
to leave you here.
Yeah. You coming or you're staying?
Yeah. But so yeah, Gills had been trying to get me to go for a couple of years, and finally said, yeah, okay. Yeah, fucking A, let's go do it. And like all caribou hunting, it's a matter of where the herd is. And so there's a certain amount of that island in the winter that's accessible and a certain amount that's not.
Oh, okay.
And so, the idea is that when it gets cold and the wind starts blasting, they head for the side of the island, which is the north side of the island, with some topography to it, where they can get in the lee of something.
Can you pull up a map of it?
Yeah.
And we had no expectations because we didn't know our way around. We found a duplex to rent and a truck to rent, and so you're working kind of road systems around there that you have visibility on this side of things from this point of the road, and visibility from this side of things from this point in the road, and go down by the water and you can see up, and you're looking up draws and the whole thing, but you're doing a lot of it by truck until you decide to climb, right, and start heading into the Alpine on foot.
So looking at the map, do the majority of people go into whatever that main village is?
Yeah, for sure.
Which is where on there?
Which is on the north side of the island.
Okay.
Right here.
Yeah, in that zone right there.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we ended up spending our time kind of in the Alpine.
Okay, you can move that up. You can move that up there.
In the Alpine up here.
Okay. That seems like it's almost the only Alpine on that island.
Yeah, there's a lot of flat. So
only like mountainous area.
Yeah, one of these.
What is that, like 3,500, 4,000 foot tops? Not even that?
Not even that.
Yeah. It's got snow on it.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy going in the world. I mean, it depends on your view of mountains.
Well, this is a fun hill.
Was there a face on that face?
Yeah. But we spent. There was kind of a constant, maybe 60 knot wind. That was the calm. It's calm right now. It's only 60 knots.
Yeah.
So
and then the question is, what's mixed into it? Is it water? Is it slush? Is it just like? It was a weather hammering that was really impressive, which was basically my entire year. Like, I got skunked on moose this year for the first time in 13 years. Same thing, just volumes of water from the sky and trees breaking at 80 feet up, from wind, and shredded camps, and sometimes it's your turn to just get humbled.
Yeah,
and this has been my year.
I know about that.
After lots of success, I'm sure,
we were there for 7 days. There's flights in on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of climbing, a lot of plowing through the wind, a lot of plowing through the rain. And, Adak, you don't like the weather, wait 6 minutes.
Oh,
or
literally
6 seconds. Yeah, I mean, it is
just starts blowing harder.
Flies through there.
Super dynamic. It's like Tahiti without the warmth. You just see these systems coming in, and you can look at your friend and go, and we're going to get schwacked in 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, and then it's just like plastering the side of your face. And, so we spent, the first 2 or 3 days just getting the lay of the land. Everything that I do is also a photography trip. So I pack my heavy gear with me all the time. Like, I gave up carrying small cameras years ago.
Oh, so just started bringing the big guns all the time?
I have a pack that I call the Angry Midget. And it comes with me wherever I go, and it pays off.
How much does it weigh?
It's probably
on average.
Yeah, it's without all of the extraneous shit for the hunting weight versus like a helicopter assisted weight or something like that is probably 25 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The helicopter assisted weight where you're doing nothing but working with gravity is 80 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Because you got all your survival shit in there and everything too as well. So we finally can't, like, basically the herd was elsewhere. It was elsewhere on the island. There was nobody driving around town with caribou in the back of their trucks. Right. It was.
Is there a lot of pressure? Like, you get out there and
fuck. The first day that we were there, I almost left.
Oh, you're like, well, there's all these fucking guys out here.
I climbed up into this big bowl, which was a fair hike. And Chris stayed behind. He was glassing something else. He said, if I see some action up that way, I'll come climb to where you are. I was like, all right, well, I'm on it. I'm going to go disappear. And so I climbed up into this bowl and parked myself in the lee of a peak and went all the way to a peak and parked myself behind it. And I start looking around, and all of a sudden, I start picking out other dudes in camo. Oh, and I'm like, and it's in this one bowl, and I picked out 11 other dudes with guns. I was like, holy shit, if caribou show up here, I'm not going for it. I'm going to duck.
It's have to be World War II out here.
Yeah, like, holy shit, it's going to be a Swiss cheese caribou. And, you know, I think that happens as the flight comes in and everybody starts going to the closest stuff possible. And we didn't see that kind of pressure once we started going deeper and other people spread out. And some of them may have been locals who just had the weekend.
Oh,
right.
okay.
And then they had to go to work or whatever. And so, you know, we worked it. We worked it hard. We did a lot of climbing. We covered a lot of territory. Saw shit tons of eagles. I watched an eagle get slammed down in the water by the wind.
Really?
Like ass over tea kettle. Like
Just took it
totally
down.
king of the sky, looking badass, and then just like bam!
Just slammed it.
Oh my god! What happened? Oh, you're taking my picture?
Is that the picture of the eagle that was like chest deep in the water right there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was
on my
asking-
Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what is that eagle doing in the water like that?
He got his ass kicked, and he was just like,
Pull that up real quick.
Yeah,
Dude.
dude.
He finally
Oh my
got
God.
out of the water, and then he perched on a rock and looked at me like, "I'm gonna find a way to kill you."
It was insane, man. Was
like, oh, you were laughing at me?
Was it that close?
Oh yeah, he was right there. Like we watched it happen, and Chris's comment was like, "Oh shit, he's in trouble." Like we were considering diving into the water and saving an eagle.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Hey,
no
that's an
caribou,
American thing to do.
No caribou around. You
Yeah.
know?
What else are we going to do?
Let's go get wet on Adak together. We're already wet anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so the last day that we had a legitimate hunting day, we found 2 bulls just off on their lonesome in an area north of where all the locals told us to go look. Like they all said, no, they never go that far north. And we were like, well,
We'll find out.
But we have pummeled the shit out of south of town. We've done a lot of climbing. We had a great time. You know, like once again, I love elemental, which is, you know, I love wind, I love desert, I love the ocean, I love the mountains, and I like getting out in it and getting scraped raw and
Yeah, pushing it.
and getting humbled.
Yeah.
You know, like realizing that you're not the biggest, baddest thing
Yeah,
out there.
it's good
And
for you.
You know, I never was.
It's good to be reminded.
Yeah, but you know, getting concrete proof every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, bitch.
Yeah. You're my bitch.
Yeah. So yeah, he got slammed down in the water and just went, you know, like, oh shit, like rung his bell. You know, obviously wasn't clear for a minute or two.
Yeah.
What the
Just
fuck
floated on
happened?
top of the water like
you know,
that?
he was like sliding on a current. You know, like you can see how they feel like the microcurrents and they like slide.
Yeah.
And you know, like
And then just
birds.
They can just ride with
Birds
the
of
water.
prey know they're cool, right?
Yeah.
And and he was just sliding. He was looking at us like, "Yeah, I'm a badass," and it just like fucking totally exploded. And he's like, "Oh, is that a camera?"
oh, man.
Yeah, you don't see an eagle. You don't see an eagle fucking up very often.
No, you don't. You know, we felt pretty lucky.
Let alone get it on camera.
Yeah, he looks distraught. I mean, when I you know, the first thing, I've been following you in a while, and I started digging in deep here the last 3-4 days, and I came across this, and I'm like, damn, like, what is that? Is that a painting? Like, is that fake? I'm like, damn, I feel like that's like really choppy ass windy water with an eagle on top, and I'm like, how the fuck do you?
Was he able to get up out of there and just fly
He did,
up?
surprisingly. Like, we were
Fully
literally
soaked?
starting to take off layers. Like, we were going to jump in the water and go in after an eagle and get fucking bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
And,
Oh, he was that close to shore?
oh, yeah, it was a little pond.
Oh.
It wasn't the ocean. It was a little pond. Like
Oh, but it looks like he's in waves.
Yeah. it does.
he is
Well,
in
that-
waves
that
because
wind.
it's
Because the
60
wind-
knot winds.
So the pond had like 2-foot swells in it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like what it looks like.
Even the ponds on Adak have white caps.
Jeez.
Yeah, he was just doing an expert slide, and then he got his
Oh.
ass handed to him. You know,
That's
it's
funny.
No shit.
fuck.
I like you were discombobulated. That says it all.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
His head's all wet. He's just like,
He's just fucking pissed.
Yes, angry.
So the last day we found a couple of bulls. And we had to climb a peak to find them. So now you're looking down and you're like, oh, they're way down there. So we put like a 2.5 hour stalk on them in our whites. And you're going through.
You put on the whites?
Yeah, put on the whites and snow.
Oh, it's snow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's snow and grass.
Got it,
that
got
day
it,
it
got
was
it.
snow. Tomorrow it might not be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're going down through these gullies, and under the snow bridges in these gullies are creeks. Right? And so the only way to approach is in the folds, and you're post holing and punching to stay out of visibility. But if you punch too far, you're going under. It's, the bridge is above your head, and the creek underneath is pretty fucking fast. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And
Raging.
At about 300 yards out, I punched through to head below the snow and arms above the snow.
Yeah.
And Gil's looking at the, getting his peaks on the caribou, and I'm like, help me. Hey, dude. Hey. Fucking help me. So, give me a hand. God damn it. Hey, dude. And the wind's just. You
just can't hear shit.
Yeah, you can't hear anything.
You're still trying not to blow the stock.
Dude, fucking help me. Right. And he finally turns around. He's like, oh, shit. Oh yeah, let me haul you out of there.
Where'd Chris go?
Yeah. And we got to 189 yards. Like, time to pull up your gun, make a shot. Poked our heads up, gust of wind, and they winded us, and they were gone. Right? And so they turn around, we turn around, like, what do you do? Sometimes,
it's blown stock. It just happens.
Sometimes you get winded, and sometimes they wind.
Yeah.
They wind, and so then we started heading back uphill, and they did an end run around us and showed up uphill of us.
Oh.
And it was like, oh, fuck, they're there. And you turn around, you're like, get your shit off your back, and then they're gone. It's like, oh, fuck. So we reacquired them like 2 hours later, and they hit the high alpine, and we put on maybe a 4.5 hour stalk on them, and
finish off your daylight.
Yep, exactly. Like, they positioned themselves where they had easily a half mile of clear viz on every side of them, and no terrain features to hide behind, nothing but open snowfield, like on all sides of them, and they're just sitting there fucking eating.
It's like, yep, this is a good spot.
Yeah, they're like, I'll sit down for a few. Okay, I'll stand up. I'll eat a little bit more.
Nah,
How
I'm
you
gonna
doing?
leave this spot.
Yeah, I have an itch on my ass. There's just no way to approach him, and so we started losing light. And it's like, all right, well, we can try a belly approach. This is about over.
Yeah,
we can try a belly approach and
see what happens.
See if we can get at them. Dead on, eye to eye already. They made us a quarter mile out. Yeah. And they're like, fucking later.
Yeah.
And they're up and over the ridge. And
well, hunters are the only predators they got
out
there. So they see you guys all day in your key.
I think they're pretty used to getting shot at out there, too.
Yeah.
Oh, they have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many are out there?
I don't even know the size of the herd. I know they were imported in World War II. As a potential food source, potential food source for soldiers out there.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing is you get into the alpine out there, and there's buried bunkers all over the place. And so when you're looking downhill, there's humps, like grass humps all over the place, and underneath any one of those humps could be a building. Right? Yeah. Like, we went into a number of them, and they are...
Oh, you can access them? They're just
full-on fortified bunkers.
Wow. So you could find some, if you got to spend the night or something.
Oh, you could easily find shelter out there. But the other thing you have to watch out for is that, you're out, there's nothing else around, and there's a piece of rebar sticking out of the ground. Or something random like that. Like, we were out far away from fucking anything, and we're like, what's that? it's a fire hydrant. What? What? Like, there was a robust, thriving population. Well, I don't know if they were thriving. They were probably all ready to kill themselves. But
Yeah.
there was a robust population on Adak for many years of thousands of people. And there's an entire abandoned town there. Like neighborhoods, office buildings, police stations, all being slowly dismantled by the wind.
Yeah.
It is. You could make a super kick-ass horror movie there.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder why somebody hasn't done that yet.
Because it's
Well, they did
Adak.
make that one, the one vampire movie that was like up in Barrow or something.
It's
right?
not exactly efficient.
No, that would be brutal.
But then there's the flip side. So on our way out, you've got all the cool things of a small community like that. Like there's maybe 150 people on Adak now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen the images of the community. They're like little shack houses just stacked in.
No, they're military duplexes. Like
Okay, so those must be the old ones then.
Yeah. And so, on our way out, Alaska Airlines comes in with Santa. Right?
Yep.
And they're fine to delay the flight out for 2 hours so that the whole town can interact with Santa. So the whole town comes to the airport. And Santa not only shows up with a bag of toys for the kids, he has a bag of toys for the kids by name.
Wow.
Right? Where's
has a population list and all the kids in town.
Yep.
And
Where's Johnny Goodman? Johnny Goodman, come up here. I have a present for you. Right? One after another, and the whole town crams themselves into the little airport room.
Yeah.
And,
space.
There's a bunch of hunters there, all dejected because none of them have caribou, right? Some of us
got battered.
Some of us have emperor goose and ducks. We got some emperors. We went on a dual prong deal and took our shotguns and.
Okay. Down. Did you have to go out on skiffs and stuff and run around on the?
No, there's an area there called Clam Lagoon.
Okay.
Which also, by the way, would be a good name for a nightclub. And there's
that got me, man.
They only serve duck farts.
Yeah, it's loaded with sea otters, and on the other side of the breakwater is the Bering Sea. Mm-hmm. And there's just shit tons of waterfowl. Like there's a robust bird hunting scene there.
Is that where they hunt those king?
Eiders.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Super popular.
Yeah, and they've got harlequins. They've got I mean, you name a prize duck, and I'm not that much of a waterfowl guy. Actually, I've done I've done some bird hunting in my life, but I don't claim knowledge. I claim a desire to shoot a long shotgun at things that's easy to aim at and watch something fall and then make it
start drinking beers about 7 a.m.
Yeah, and then make it into duck sausage, right? But I guess the emperors are really sought after, and there's only a couple of places in the world that you can get them, and one of those places is Adak. So
is that where when you put in for the draw for the emperor, that's where you would hunt it?
Yes, but as an Alaskan, you can get a registration permit.
Oh, okay. I have never, ever opened that link.
Yeah.
It's for an emperor goose. I'm not a waterfowl hunter either.
No.
But I can only imagine that, between, I guess, just super generic, limited waterfowl knowledge spitting out of my mouth here, you would want to harvest a mallard and a Canadian and then an emperor.
Yeah.
Wow, they're massive. That secondary one must be a young. I messed up the screen.
Yeah, you fucked it all up.
I did. But the guy next to you had a smaller one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the story of my life.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah, it's me.
Oh wow.
You got the big one.
That's what she said.
Also the story of my life.
Double whammy. That's pretty cool.
And all I have to say is,
how'd they eat though?
James Stevens is the shivviest. Shizziest.
James is the shizziest.
James is the shizziest.
James
is the shizziest.
James is the
Rack 'em
shizziest.
up, rack 'em up.
Yeah. James.
I like how you rock the old school. Like you're not.
Yeah, man.
You're not into the
He's class
your
of
boy is
88,
fully
boys.
sick out with the fancy dancy shit.
With the little goose.
My man's out here. Out here in a
You got the
Carhartt
OG,
hoodie.
man. He's like, yeah, I got the big boy.
You know what that is? That's an OG Teton Gravity Research hoodie.
There you go. Still good.
Mm-hmm. Still works. So this is the plumage.
Keeping it real.
Oh, that's
my.
a great picture. Wow.
Oh man,
The plumage.
The plumage.
that's beautiful.
That's the
Yep.
How'd they eat?
feathers of the bird for those of that.
Oh
those
yeah,
that don't
yeah.
know
The
about
texture
the
and the plumage. Well,
In the whites.
full whites.
okay.
What whites? Man, we brought some
That's the
whites
first
on the
time I've
sheep
seen
hunts.
one,
Man,
but-
they got fucking destroyed.
I was surprised when you guys. I saw the video with you guys in the whites. I'm like, oh damn, you guys went full whites. I didn't know you had a white scenario.
I just
Yeah, man, you always gotta have a white scenario.
I haven't been bringing them since that first year.
I just bring
I kinda called
Tyvek
bullshit
and
after
rip
that.
it
I
up
was
and
like,
then
you
put
don't
on
need
a
this.
new one. So that's the whites at the end of the day.
Okay.
After you crawled around and tore them all the shit.
After crawling on my belly for 4.5 hours.
The
Oh, yeah,
whites
those
just turn
things are-
black.
they
and
just shred,
dirty. It's
too,
like, what's
dude.
the point? This thing's
Yeah.
like attracting things. It's just like flapping all over the place.
Yeah.
Fully shredded.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hold my thought real quick. How did they eat? Like, were they good? Was it a good eating bird?
It's a goose.
Tastes like a goose.
It's like a goose.
I mean, I've had my fair share, I think, of wild waterfowl prepared. Probably not like all the awesome ways it's been done, and I've had things injected with duck fat and all that, but I have not really had any waterfowl that blew me away outside of like a really gourmet piece at like Glacier Brewhouse back in the day or something like that. Like I've had some really great duck meals, but like wild. Went over to my
Right.
aunt's house and had a goose right out of the oven. It was like, man, this thing tastes like mud.
It's a goose. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
ducks and waterfowl taste like mud to me. That's what like I equate the flavor of it.
You know,
I know it's probably so
never
disrespectful
been,
to waterfowl hunters. I'm sorry, guys,
you just
and people, but man, I'm just saying my experiences are like, yeah, I'm not sure I get.
I love
the
a
whole,
good rich duck meal.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
You know, like as a special treat. But I have a buddy that is, you know, a lifetime waterfowl guy and just shoots hundreds of ducks a year. And he gets huge batches of duck sausage made. And that's the shit.
I've never actually had that.
Yeah, no,
sausage.
that sounds good. Because it's
That
mixed
sounds
with, it's
amazing.
mixed with
I've never
pork
had
fat,
that.
probably, and
And I'm a hot
yeah.
dog connoisseur, sausage
Yeah.
connoisseur, and I've
Fan of
never
the tube
had
meat
a,
product, are you?
Yeah.
yes. I feel like that's really a great way if you're talking about going shooting hundreds of ducks a year to really harvest and preserve the meat and have it for like longevity, because you can only throw so many ducks in the oven and eat them. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
and break teeth and do all the other bullshit that goes on.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I've known a handful of guys that are like, yeah, I got 10 grand into my mouth because I was eating ducks for a while. I gave that up, and I'm like, whew, man.
Oh, because they're crunching into the
Yeah, well, there's
Little
a
BB
BB
in your
The BB,
stuck
the
in the
pellets?
meat. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's not duck sausage, guys. That's more like the ones that are thrown. Their wife throws it in the oven and does it up nice. But oof.
That's kind of like missing your pancaked bullet before you put something in the meat grinder.
yeah, no,
Oh, fucking new
man, I
meat
haven't done
grinder.
that before. But man, please let that never happen. Yikes!
Oh,
Just chewing on 180 grain barns like.
so my going back to Caribou, my first.
Which there's 2,600 on Adak.
Oh, nice.
So you guys were wondering. Yeah.
So my first experience, I told you I didn't grow up hunting. Like I didn't start till my mid-20s. My first wife, her mother was a true Alaskan specimen. She's white, but she was born in Nome and grew up in Kotzebue. And her father was a prospector in Nome. So, back in those days,
checking all the boxes there.
In the 30s and 40s, you order your food a year in advance and hope it makes it through.
Yep.
She was like that type. And she introduced me to hunting. My wife's mother introduced me to hunting. And so my first caribou trip, she took me up onto the Kobuk and the Northwest Arctic herd.
Yep.
And plopped me right in the middle of that fucking herd. And I took a couple of friends with me, first trip. Don't know what I'm doing. Young and in the hunting career. And we're all sitting there in our camo and we're hiding, and there's all these caribou walking by and trying to pick your perfect animal. And they're very close. Like you can, in that herd, you can shoot a caribou and the rest of them will look at them and go, "What happened to Fred?"
Yeah.
Like
Keep going.
they don't run. They don't, they're like, "Oh, there goes another one." And so she's watching. We're at a friend's cabin out there, and she's watching our program and shaking her head. Right, and she eventually comes stomping out in white pants, white keds, a pink muumuu, with a cigarette in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other hand. Says, "What the fuck are you guys doing?"
Okay, we're hunting.
Be quiet, we're hunting. She says, "Give me that." And she picks up one of our guns that she's never shot before, and she rests her cigarette and her coffee in one hand and one arm's gun in the other hand, and fucking blows a caribou's brains out. Shoots it in the brain. Right. No organ shot, no nothing. She hands the gun back and she says, "I've cleaned enough caribou for one lifetime. Why don't you boys get busy?" And walks away. Right. And we're like, oh, I get it. We're stupid. Right. Yeah. Oh, I understand. We're dumb. We're really dumb. Yeah.
This is how it's done, boys.
And then you witness the native program on the Kobuk, where they wait for them to cross the river, and they pull up as they're swimming across and shoot them in the back of the head with a handgun.
Yeah, a little 22.
It's a harvest. It's not a hunt at all. And then you start to get it, and what a great way to learn, because you got a bunch of native people to teach you, and you're cleaning 20 caribou at a time.
Wow.
Right.
That's a lot of work.
And
all the different, like, this is this guy's style, that guy's style.
Yeah.
Picking up different.
Well, and the women are there doing it with big old ulus made out of coffee cans.
Oh, really?
Right. Oh. And they're quartering caribou in minutes. Right. There's like,
yeah.
Just one,
and handing it off, and then somebody else is taking care of the skin. Like, they're not even bothering skinning first. They're just like big old cuts. Just separate.
Just pulling quarters off. Just
industrial.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's a harvest.
It's a factory program. They're saving for the winter, and they've got a lot of work to do, and they don't fuck around. And they actually don't like to sit around and answer your questions.
Oh, yeah. Once the ball's rolling.
Wait. How did you do that? Can you show me that again?
Yeah. Can you articulate how you do that in words? Like, fuck off. I got 2 more quarters to peel off this thing.
Yeah. So the next year I went back, and we had kind of an unknown guy with us. And we shot like 6 or 7 caribou in a day between us. Your limit out there's 5 per day per person. Mm-hmm. And then we were like, we got them all lined up on the beach, and we're like, well, all right, let's go upriver and see if we can look for a moose. And also, still young in my hunting career, I learned not to shoot a moose in the water. So 2 bulls fight.
Never want to let that happen.
2 bulls fighting in the middle of the river, and I decide I'm going to end that fight. And I shoot one of the bulls that's fighting in the river, and he goes blah, 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 and he sinks.
Oh,
right.
Shit.
And so I get a rope around his antlers, and there's not a single cleat on the boat, nowhere to be found on the boat. And so this guy that I don't know, JJ, is going to be my cleat. right? And so
we got a good grip on that thing.
Yeah, so we put 2 life jackets on JJ's chest and 2 on his back and wrap him. Just wrap a rope around JJ, and he's got his legs. He's got his legs on the stern of the boat. And he's just like, "Argh." And so this moose is just like dragging behind us for 6 miles down the river.
No way!
Jeez.
Yeah, and then
6 miles, dude.
Oh yeah,
that must have been the longest boat ride of a lifetime ever.
Oh yeah, so we get back to the place and
6 miles,
and unwrap JJ, and he can't unbend his legs, right? He's just seized. He's stuck. He's a piece of furniture, right? And so we, unwrap him and, give him a rub down, get him some whiskey and all right, now we got to deal with all this. And so we've got all these caribou and we've got a moose, and we can only get the moose up little bit out of the water, basically cleaning the moose in the river.
Yeah.
And so go all night long, dealing with caribou, hauling them up. We build, tripod racks into a cut bank. So you've got the log resting on the cut bank and then a tripod, supporting that log. And we're hanging
for a big meat pole.
Hanging all, we've got like 3 of them going. And, we get everything hung, and the last thing to go up is the moose.
Ugh. And that must have been exciting to get to.
And
after
so
those caribou.
we hang the last of the moose at like 4:00 in the morning, on this meat pole, and it goes snap, and everything hits the ground. And this guy JJ, I've never seen him since, by the way. Like, I don't know JJ, right? He starts crying.
Your human Cleat.
yeah. JJ, the human Cleat, starts crying. It's like, dude, are you okay? And he's like, no, man, I'm not okay. I can't lift anything else. I can't move anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, okay, dude, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to make a tarp envelope for the night, and we'll deal with this in the morning. He's like, you can do that? I didn't know you were allowed to do that. Why didn't we do that before?
Why did we go through all that?
Oh, poor JJ.
Yeah, that was my introduction to caribou hunting, and that's like when that herd was in its prime, and it's not anymore. It was a thing to behold. Just thousands and thousands of animals all portaging and moving around, and see them from miles away.
Yeah.
That was in like the early 80s?
No. Let's see, I graduated high school.
Oh, no, this is that way after high school.
Yeah, no, that was like late 90s.
Yeah.
Kobuk River herd?
Yeah, that's the Northwest Arctic herd.
Northwest Arctic, yeah.
Yeah, coming off the Brooks.
Right.
So that's a cool trip. You fly into someplace, you fly into like either Kobuk or Ambler, and there's an opportunity for sheep right out of the gate, for Brooks sheep right out of the gate there. And then you float the Kobuk, and
that's on my list, man.
And you go through the Great Selawik Wilderness, the Gates of the Arctic, Kobuk Wildlife Preserve.
If you're flowing west, right, from the would be the highway.
Yeah, you're flowing west.
If you're going north south, if you're going north left.
I would do it. I would fly into Kotzebue, go to Cayenne, get a floater out of Cayenne into Ambler, maybe, and so then you go through the Gates of the Arctic, and then there's the sand dunes, the Kobuk sand dunes. So you're floating through
like the desert,
Brooks and the tundra, and all of a sudden there's white sand dunes deposited by some freaking ice age. And all of the biology changes. So all the foxes are white.
Oh, wow.
Like everything changes within that.
Those parameters.
Within that zone to match what's going on with the land.
With the habitat. Wow.
Yeah. And so you've got chance for sheep. There's bear hunting. I've never been into bear hunting because I don't like to shoot shit that I'm not going to eat.
Same boat.
But the bears out there are real. Like, you should be prepared to hunt them because they will hunt you. Right there at that time of year, they're eating squirrels.
Yeah. Any like good meat source, they'll get aggressive for it. Right.
They'll follow you for 30 miles.
See, I've heard that about Brooks grizzlies.
Yeah.
My boy Lance always said that. He's like, those Brooks grizzlies
they're scary.
They're evil.
Yeah, they're scary.
Yeah. Of course, we ran into a couple and they ran.
Yeah.
Like they didn't want nothing to do with us, but we caught them off guard. I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's weird out there because you see a bear, and then you're 10 miles downstream, and you see a bear, and you realize it's the same bear.
Oh,
I was following you.
so he came.
Yeah. They will absolutely go through a lot of effort to fuck with you.
Yeah. Well, you hear stories like the one guy.
firsthand.
Yeah, but
Oh,
so you've got a sheep population out there, you've got a bear population out there. There's not a shit ton of moose, but the ones that are out there are dinosaurs. Right? I saw a guy take what we determined was the number 2 moose in the world with a bow, and a 77-inch bull.
Wow, monster.
God, I was calling him to me. He was coming at me, and this guy popped up a quarter mile uphill like there's not another human being within miles, right? And he popped up a quarter mile uphill and went thunk. And I was
my God.
Oh, my God. And so I helped him pack it out, and then I met him again at the Kotzebue airport, and we took a tape to it in 77 inches. So the moose that are out there are big ones. Mm-hmm. There's obviously a big caribou population out there. There's sheefish.
I was just getting ready to ask that.
Yeah, there's sheefish.
Man, I have just like a bucket list passion. I want to catch one of those damn things so bad.
There's 80-pound sheefish out there. There's rainbows. There's burbot.
Grayling. Yeah, char.
It's like, and then there's
burbot.
And then there's
I didn't know that either. Yeah.
ducks, geese, and sandhill cranes, the ribeye of the sky.
Yeah, the
Like,
ribeye.
it-
Have you ever eaten crane? I haven't had a chance to eat
It's
it.
like an ultra tender beef fillet.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen
It's
it
a-
cooked,
it's a
and it
red
is
meat.
incredible
Yeah, it's a red meat.
how
too.
red the meat is.
Yeah.
I can't believe that, how that works out.
Yeah, but that's like one of those bucket list trips and the way to do it, because I figured this out, is that you arrange for a meat pickup halfway down.
Oh, okay. Especially if you
Take
got a
a load
sheep
off.
right out the gate.
And so you pay someone off in either Cayenne or Kotzebue to hang your stuff
In a cold storage somewhere.
or a hangar.
Yeah, just somewhere in the
Cool storage.
Cool
Let's call it
storage.
Cool storage.
There we go. Which I'm sure it's cool enough up there.
And so you unload halfway through. Right, and then you continue your trip
'Cause you're floating,
and
you
you
wanna
float
get rid
all
of
the
it.
way down to Cayenne or the Squirrel.
How many miles is that? About, or days?
If you do it right and you set a couple of 2 or 3 day base camps along the way where you can
Hunt.
where you're just not always mobile, where you can get down and dirty and hunt.
Yeah.
You can make it a 2-week trip.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah,
That's what I'd want to do.
yeah, totally.
yeah,
That's something you wouldn't do all the time.
yeah. It's a
Out of every year
logistical pain in
thing.
the ass, but all the best
I
things
love
in
the
life
logistics
are.
of it.
Yeah,
That's my favorite part.
yeah, figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite
Oh,
part.
pouring over maps and just trying to figure out.
My
what
favorite
the-
part of hunting is the before hunting, the logistics of all of it. I love that part.
Yeah, and then getting to that spine or whatever that is that you pour it over on Google Earth and find out like, oh fuck, I can't.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
There's like a 10-foot cliff and I
This
can't
thing?
quite get over that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done your fair share of that though with the filming and photography of the mountains. I mean,
Lots of
Yeah,
audibles.
it's always how it is.
yeah, I mean, you probably got pretty good at you and your crew looking at certain features and topography on a map to see like what's doable and what's not. And
Yeah, but we're usually wrong.
okay, you always want to I got to see it anyway.
No, it's more like, okay, we think we can do this, but we better prepare for this, this, and this because
that.
we're missing something.
Yeah, until you get boots on the ground and actually see it or whatever it is.
Yeah, so like this year, so I the last maybe 15 years, I've been going up north of the Yukon for moose, up out of Galena. And my buddies and I have been working a series of fairly slack water creeks that all interconnect. And so you work those, you take a certain amount of food, you figure out how to eat the rest of the time. And then at the end of that trip, you're navigating these creeks and moving around, and then you set a base camp and you kill a couple of moose and your trip's over. Right. And so we had been working this zone over years and years and years. And I think we went 13, 14 years without coming up dry. Like, it was a very productive area for us. And we kind of lost our ride out there. And that's key, man.
That one logistical linchpin that got you guys into the sweet spot.
Yeah, and so now we're kind of looking for what's our new home, with just the longing desire to go back there, but it's not working out right now.
Yeah.
And so I think this year we're going to go.
It's a good run, though. I mean, 13 years.
It's better than the average, yeah.
Oh, my God, yeah. You got a decade in one spot?
Oh, yeah.
Putting meat in the freezer every year? I mean.
At least one moose, usually 2 or 3.
Yeah. But it's fun to be looking for another one.
Yeah, so this year I'm going to go try wood tick chick.
A fly and float pickup style?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
yearning to float and hunt.
No, that won't be a float. I like finding a lake.
That'd be cool too.
I travel with Ducky.
One body of water that you just
with Duckies.
Duckies? No.
It's an inflatable kayak, but they're made out of the same stuff that like an Air 16-foot inflatable raft is made out of.
Thick.
They're bulletproof. You can throw them out of an airplane.
Okay.
Right?
Duckies.
And like blam, 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 and go find it later.
Yeah.
Right? So we use Duckies, and in a 2-person Ducky, you can fit 3 quarters, and you can sit on one of them.
Yeah.
And you can
you can load it up,
and you can navigate fairly fast water sitting on a quarter. But we tend to go into a lake area with adjoining creeks or whatever, and those Duckies are transport, they're meat haul, whatever, but you can extend your range beyond that, ever desirable half mile from camp.
Yeah, right.
Right. You don't want to go more than a mile. You don't want to carry moose more than a mile ever.
No.
But
100 yards for that matter.
but a Ducky can make that 3 miles.
Yeah.
Right. If you're hauling them on the water, it's fine as long as it's slack water and you're not fighting current.
Or wind.
Like that. So, for us, it's, we're in the Google Earth game right now. We're looking at specific lakes and like, all right, there's a big skag back there. You could set a camp here. There looks like there's some fresh water flowing in there. And I'm with you. I like that process.
Yeah.
And then, what do we don't see? Well, we better prepare for this. You better prepare for that.
Yeah.
And you always bring the come along, and you hope to God you don't have to use it, because if you do have to use it, you fucked
it's a
up.
shitty time.
Dude, I see photos of guys, their picture, their big 68-inch bull, and it's like front shoulder and head's out of the water, but the rest of it's in the water. I'm like, man, are you able to get that out on the shore, or are you actually doing a full clean?
Full clean in the water.
Man, I know it's going to happen one of these days, but I don't want to. Man, that seems gnarly.
So that I told you I dragged that moose 6 miles on.
I can't believe
on
that,
JJ man. On JJ.
Yeah, JJ
and
the human cleat.
So the guy who owned the cabin that we were staying went through my bag and drank my entire handle, like an entire handle of Crown Royal.
While you were gone?
While we were out hunting. And so he came down to the beach fucking wasted. Right.
On your handle.
On my handle with none left.
Oh, didn't even save a victory shot for you or nothing?
And the only way to deal with that moose in that particular circumstance, and it was my first moose.
Oh, man.
Right, was to climb inside it. And
in the cavity and like
in the cavity and just like in your hair and in your face and everything. And I crawled out, and then we had a fire gun on the beach, and there's northern lights overhead. It's pretty frigid. Everything's frozen. You know, it's like one of those moments. And he looked at me and he said, hey, white boy, I'm not going to let you use my shower. I was just like, I didn't care. I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to kill you later.
Yeah. And then I'll use a shower all I want.
Your murder is in my future. But right now, I'm just going to enjoy this moment.
What a cool memory, though.
Yeah.
That was your first moose experience.
That was my second caribou experience, my first moose.
So was it one of those where you're like, I'm never fucking doing this ever again? And 3 months later, you're like, hey, called your buddy, like, hey, man, what's up with the moose next year?
No, it was more like, I'm never not doing this.
Sweet.
There will never be a year that passes that I don't.
You won't chase one.
The needle was in the vein.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Moose
for
hunting
sure.
is fun,
And I
man.
had a great teacher. Like my ex-mother-in-law, Mary, is a legend. And, you know, she's like, if you go to the Forest Service in Girdwood, the bear in there is hers. And there's a picture of my wife as a baby sitting on that bear's head. And, you know, she encouraged me to take my daughter as a baby on my first caribou hunt. And so I have pictures of my daughter, you know,
Wow.
in that situation. The old bongo bear that used to be in the sits mark in Girdwood, that was hers.
Oh, wow.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, she's badass. Like when I married her daughter, she looked at me and she said, if you hurt my daughter, I'll have you killed. Which is a very different sentence from "I'll kill you."
Yeah, I'll have you killed.
Yeah, right? I'll kill you is a crime of passion.
Yeah.
Right? I'll have you killed is somebody who plans on getting away with it, knows who will do it, knows where they will hide you, and absolutely plans on getting away with it.
She's like, yeah, I'll have you skinned.
Yeah. She taught me a lot. She bought me my first guns, and she bought me good guns. And
she knew what you needed, huh?
Yeah, and then I progressed, and you know, I started getting into archery and things like that were beyond what she was into. Yeah, but she started the path, and I'm forever fucking grateful to her for it.
Yeah,
amazing. That's way cool that a woman taught you how to hunt, got you into hunting,
especially as a grown man.
Set the tone. Yeah, I mean that.
I'm still not a grown man.
A growing man.
I mean, the narrative is I learned how to hunt from my dad.
Yeah, no.
You know, and it's like, no, let me tell you this story.
No, my dad was into fishing. He got me out off the grid,
and it's totally fine that he didn't get you into there. That that his path didn't lead you there, but you met this unique, amazing human being that was like weaved in the culture of what hunting was. Yeah, came from that, and you learned from the roots of hunting. Like, I mean, survival and subsistence, and
she handed it to me in a super authentic way, and never made me feel small. Like allowed me to grow within that, and helped me as kind of my mind awakened, you know, as I left the Matrix. Joined the real world, and
it unlocked something, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then, you know, lo and behold, I ended up living this life that professionally allowed me to drill deep all over this state and get paid for it, and take, you know, those roots that she gave me and blow them into like this, like,
oh man,
yeah,
like learning how to hunt was just like the beginning or the tip of the iceberg.
The pilot hole there.
Yeah,
you just went all the way in.
Before your path is just whew.
Going to like Cayenne and Kotzebue is one thing, but going to Cayenne and Kotzebue with somebody who's grew up there, and knows how to skip all the bullshit and
knows the
get rid of any
connections
barriers that are there because people don't trust you or whatever. Like when none of those things are there,
you just got the VIP
people that are willing to help you.
Rather
than give you the who the fuck are you. is huge. Huge.
Yeah.
I love the Arctic.
Most folks don't experience it that way.
Yeah.
That's true.
You're
Oh,
kinda
no,
like
I get that. Yeah.
Kind of like the enemy coming in there,
Yeah. Yeah.
coming after the harvest.
Yep.
That's the way it is.
Yep.
Wow.
Can't blame them in a lot of ways.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have any upcoming big projects, big trips, big films, big anything coming on?
What's new for 2022? Chris Owens.
I need to go on a honeymoon.
Oh.
I got married actually a little over a year ago. My wife and I do not yet share a house.
How'd you work that? Logistics?
Well,
Sounds like you finally found the right one.
we're working on it.
I like my place. I like my place too.
My current home is up in the mountains. It's up by Flat Top. And I have a bat cave.
It's a little windy up there.
So there is an actual underground basketball court underneath my house.
Oh, nice.
But it's lined with shelves. Like, you know that scene in The Matrix when, you know, they're in the construct and like all the weapons come like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, like all the shelves. Yeah, that's like my bat cave. Right. And so it's shelves and shelves and shelves of outfitting gear. Like I'm set up to take a film crew of 20 people and say sleeping bags for everybody, tents for everybody, you know, like,
Wow.
you know, I've got a ball of 40 life jackets hanging from the ceiling and, you know, like 25 years as an outfitter and, you know, backcountry experiential provider.
Right.
I just have a lot of shit. And so moving that all to her house will be like hitting it with a tsunami. It'll never survive.
U-Haul after U-Haul.
And so we've been just kind of trying to figure that out. So my big adventure for this year is actually moving out of the mountain house in the back cave and figuring all that out. And then I have art shows. I have a show in April. I have a show in June. I have a show in July, and I have one in December.
In the state?
All here
or
in
out
the
of
state?
All here in the state. And
Oh,
I'm working
nice.
on more. But I've been working on taking, 30 years of photography,
Yeah.
taking those really stellar moments, printing them on canvas, overpainting them, redigitizing them, and then bending reality on them a little bit, and then printing them again.
Yeah.
So it's
It's a very unique style.
a stupid, inefficient process, and I'll never make money on it. But my head's in it right now. So
Yeah. Well, they're beautiful pieces.
well, and you probably have,
it
like,
goes back to my
endless.
roots, right?
Yeah, like all those photos, like I'm sure just the hours that you do poring over looking at those images you took, where you were, what the circumstance was. There's a lot going back into that, right?
Every one of them means something.
Yeah.
Every one of them is a real moment
Sparks
in
of
time.
memory,
So
yeah.
If you go to one of my shows, you'll see whatever the piece of art is, and then you'll see a description on it that has the actual GPS location, where that occurred, and a little story behind it.
Yeah.
And, just a reiteration that all of these things, even though they're paintings now, they're all real.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Real
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah.
Where's the art shows at?
I have one in April at Stephan Fine Arts, and it also hangs like all over the Captain Cook.
Yep.
And I have one in June at Great Harvest Bread Company.
Nice.
And I have one in July at the Steam Dot Coffee on O'Malley, and one in December at the Steam Dot by REI.
Nice. We got to get you at Double Shovel.
Yeah.
They do a lot of art stuff, artists, things over there.
Oh,
Jack,
yeah.
who's in Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah,
He would definitely hook you up with
your
that.
art would fit in there
Amazingly.
absolutely seamlessly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let's talk about it.
We will. We'll get you lined
Definitely.
up over there with them.
Yeah.
We could do something cool downtown too. One of the hot dog stands
Yeah.
outside. Just have some parts up.
Yeah.
Get some of that
Touristy
tourist
then.
dollars
Mhm.
going.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, I got a lot of space over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Pay me in hot dogs.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
you
could
got
do
some
that.
really cool photos of like Sleeping Lady in downtown Anchorage, and
Well, yeah.
that would kind of be like perfect.
I'm working on a little secret series that I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day other than in my mind, but with my home,
A work in progress.
with my home up above Anchorage right now, up by Flat Top, I have this insane view of the Neocolas, Sleeping Lady, the Tordrillos, the Alaska Range, and the Chugach. And so literally in the last probably 5 years, I bet I've shot 500,000 frames out of just the same location.
Yeah.
And so
Right out on the deck?
Well, not a deck, but a roof, right?
Oh,
And so
top.
I've been working on like 1,000 moods of the lady. And it's the same angle with the same tree and the same shot in the foreground, but Sleeping Lady in all of these different weather conditions. So I have red smoke filtered suns. I have full moons. I have sliver moons.
Yeah.
I have northern lights. I have storms in between Anchorage and the lady. I have storms behind the lady.
Yeah.
I have fog rising and falling. I have super crisp white crystals in the foreground, but it's all the same shot.
Yeah.
It's all
same angle, same distance, same everything.
Same distance, same tree, same everything.
Yeah, that is way cool.
Almost like a time lapse of.
In a way, yeah.
1,000 moods of the lady. I had to write that down. That is fucking. That's it, man.
That's one of those things. You know, I do 1,000 things that no other human ever sees.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It pleases me, and it ends up on my screensaver.
I love it. You ever?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I should think about printing that. Oh, wait, what was I talking about?
You ever ridden a snow machine up there, up on Sleeping Lady?
I haven't. You know, I don't do thumb sports very well.
Oh, good word. I never heard of that.
Thumb sports.
Well, you know,
I mean, it is all kind of right
racing,
there.
You see the scars there on my
Yeah.
thumb and
Okay.
on my wrist.
Okay.
Ski racing, I broke my right thumb probably 25 times easily, and my left thumb close to that, because you know what happens is you jam your thumb into the ice and then it breaks.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
as you're clipping gates, you know, especially if you're not quite at the top of your game.
Okay.
Notice I am not.
That little lag.
I was never quite good enough, right? I was good enough to fuck myself up, but not good enough to progress
Get in the mix and
sport.
get hurt. Yeah.
And so I've had this wrist rebuilt a couple of times. I've had my right thumb totally rebuilt. I've had this bicep. This bicep got detached.
Oh, what's happened to Scotty? Our buddy just is going through that right now.
I popped both sides simultaneously.
Oh.
It rolled up like a cinnamon roll and went in my elbow.
Oh my god.
And so if I do
right, it just
if I do thumb throttle stuff, I'm not good for more than a half hour. You know.
Oh,
It's
you
just-
get worn out and it just hurts.
It just
and
hurts. It like the
the muscle memory just like. Ugh.
it just hurts. It's like the payoff isn't worth it.
Yeah.
It's so okay. So I have a theory, in that everything that we do in our lives is about a hit of serotonin.
Okay.
Right? It's that thing that gives us joy, pleasure,
Makes us feel good.
satisfaction, makes you feel good. And, you know, having hung out with professional athletes for all of my adult life and adrenaline junkies through the various things that I've done and adventure junkies through the other things that I've done, it's all about that hit of serotonin. Right?
Yeah.
And
At the end of the day, that's what it's.
And an increasing intensity of what it is that you're doing over time to get that same hit of serotonin, that same feeling of accomplishment, that same rush, that same feeling of punch, right?
Yeah.
And going back to the discussion that we had earlier about balance, right? Balance in life. In that if you find the right things that work for you, you can get that same hit out of serotonin, like a really good, somebody who really lives in the kitchen can get that same hit of serotonin that somebody else gets from climbing Everest, right? That provides that balance of accomplishment, of joy, of satisfaction,
Thrill.
And so it's a matter of finding not what's the next biggest, better thing that you're going to do that gets you to that same place that this lower level got you to 2 years ago. It's what can provide that today, tomorrow, now, and forever on a regular basis, and do it repeatedly. And that right there is the secret to happiness. Right. Happiness is made out of serotonin.
Yeah.
Right. And a little salt and whiskey.
So what provides that to you?
Yeah. What provides that to you? Like
whatever it is, whether it's completing
all about the exchange rate.
Yeah.
So with like motorsports like that, I don't get the exchange rate out of it. Like the power of the experience doesn't match up to the pain of getting there. Right, in that particular circumstance for me.
Yeah.
For somebody else it does.
Yeah. That is some deep articulation on why he doesn't like to ride motorcycles, snow machines, or four-wheelers. He's like, side-by-side, sit here, gas pedal all day. That's great. I had to ask, because I had the pleasure of 2 weekends in a row. I got to ride one time from the Deshka Landing down the Sioux, up to Alexander, up onto the mountain, and then another time we went right from Big Lake. And we took the Iron Dog Trail and did the whole thing up. And it's always so cool to, like, be at some cool view in Anchorage or Wasilla or somewhere where you see the lady, and you're like, oh, I rode a snow machine up to that, like, ravine right there. People are like, what? You rode on that? I'm like, yeah. It's like, man, and I
took 1,000 pictures of that ravine.
Yeah. She's a moody bitch, man. She's
well, the thing is with snow machines is you got to be careful, at least with an audience that you're talking to, because machines, today's snow machines, are way more capable than a lot of the riders.
Oh, man, that says it all right there.
So, in a world of ski touring or snowboard touring or climbing or other activities that can get you into these super gnarly environments, there's a learning curve. Right? Like, let's just take skiing or snowboarding. So you start as a kid or as a young adult in your home resort, and you learn to ski. Right? You start on the bunny hill, some friend teaches you, or you take lessons or whatever. And then over time you learn to enjoy that resort and to get the most that you can out of that resort. And then at some point your mind begins and your eyes begin to wander, right? And you go, well, wait, what's over there? Look beyond this resort, right? And then you have some friend that's like, yeah, I go out there. I tour out there. Let me take you. And so you go with that friend and you learn how to go uphill on skis or on a split board, right? Learn about skins. You probably go through a progression of gear. Right, this is good for starters, but man, it's too heavy. Now I'm going to get something else. And you go through a progression of gear. And by the way, along the way, you learn some skills about how to evaluate the environment that you're in, what the dangers are, what the safe routes are, how to navigate around, what's a good day to go, what's a bad day to go, the whole thing. Right, and then eventually, at some point, you are a competent backcountry touring skier or snowboarder. Right? And then you start teaching somebody else. Right? You bring them along for the ride. But with a snow machine, almost anyone can go out, drop 6 to 14 grand.
There you go.
On a snow machine, get the keys in their hand, and the next day be in an area that they have no fucking business being. no idea of snow safety, no idea of snow machine safety, no idea of how to get themselves out of a shitty situation or how to even understand what a shitty situation is.
Yeah, that's probably the first part.
Like I have done a lot of mountain body recoveries. The ones that are in groups are snow machiners. Right? One guy out of 12 who has a beacon, and he doesn't know how to use it. Right?
I've been in those groups. I've been the guys in those groups. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that the machine is so capable that it doesn't require the requisite curve.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have the, it doesn't give you that time to learn everything else that surrounds
everything that goes with it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that goes along too. We've said before, like you can go out and buy yourself a $80,000 boat and go out to Prince William Sound and
die in it.
Not have a clue how to even pull your anchor. Yeah.
And not know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that's a great point. Just having Chad here last week, a guy who's been riding for, 25 years or more. He's been through, seeing it all. He just got a, $20,000 turbocharged, supercharged, whatever the hell that thing is. I mean, you talk about a sled getting you to a spot where you don't belong. Like, thank goodness it's him riding that snow machine and not the guy that just came back from the slope and he's like, hey, 20K, I'm going to get a sled.
Right.
I rode a phaser a few years ago, but
yeah,
exactly.
And then, I mean, it's, we talked about the avalanche safety, the whole thing. I mean, it kind of feels like before you even drop the bomb on that thing, you should probably go through a whole rigmarole of education and training. And I mean, like I said, I've been in those trips. I've been on rides where we rode by a spot and then we came back and there was an avalanche that slid through and we had to go around, and it was like, dude, an hour ago, what if we were riding by and the thing came down? And it was like, I got a beacon, I do too. Well, my battery's dead in mine, and I've never even pulled my probe out, and it's like, dude, this is fucking could go south so fast.
Well, the thing is Alyeska has a beacon park where you can practice for free. They've got multiple buried beacons. You can practice finding one. You can practice finding 6.
Yeah.
Like with distracting signals and like it's there all the time. From the first time there's snow of the year, they light it up and you can go out there and you can take your friends and you can practice. And I mean, it's a matter of choosing. I'm super selective about who I drop off with.
Yeah.
And, I think that you have to be. I think that you have to choose not just who's fun to be with, but who's going to be there for you, who has requisite skills or is willing to get them.
Yep.
And you can't fuck it off.
Yep. Who's going to help you? Who's going to help you when you're the one that needs help?
Yeah.
Yep. That's true. That's
because every one of us, especially as you're learning to do things, does stupid shit, and you need somebody there to. Oh my God, the number of things I've walked away from because I was just plain old fucking stupid and.
Yep.
Had the right homie with you that made sure you got out of there.
Yeah. Especially in hunting.
Oh, yeah.
I've taken a whole new approach at. So I've had the opportunity to hunt with a lot of new guys the last couple of years, and it came to me real fast that you need to have that conversation about gun safety and how often do you shoot, and just some of the simple things that all the preparation, lead up, and hype and fun, the culmination of how it all comes together over the year after you do a permit or whatever you're doing, and then you got a guy come in who's a buddy of a buddy. You're excited to have him along, but you're like, whoa, you don't have any idea of his gun safety skills. You don't have any idea how he handles a firearm, what his knowledge is, what his skills are in the woods if something goes bad. you start thinking about that a lot more. You start considering that more than just the idea of planning a hunt and the logistics and the kill and the harvest. There's a lot of stuff that is kind of washed away with that, and you have to really, really know
who you're with.
Yeah, you do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it
comes with experience. You got to like be the guy that gets helped out. You got to be the guy that helps out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, in your case, you probably saved a lot of lives, and got put in spots that,
Yeah,
and
I have the same conversation with my friends that I have with clients. Here's exactly how far we are from the nearest hospital. Here's what that means in terms of logistics and actually getting one of us there if that happens. And by the way, here are my weaknesses. I have a seizure condition. I'm allergic to bees. Like da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. Here's what to do if I have a seizure. Like all of those types of things. Let's go through my let's go through my med kit. Your anticoagulants are here. There's O2 here. Like here's how to use it. Let me show you how to get a cannulus running on this, and like all of that before anybody says, let's go look for firewood.
Yeah. It's good. It's important.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you find your core crew that you've been doing it with for years, and those guys know what's in the yellow bag and they know where it goes. And so you get into a new spot and people start getting into motion. You don't even have to talk.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, sweet, he's putting the bag up the tree, and all right, I've got the line up for tarp one, and
it gets quiet for a while there, and
and everybody's
just happens
just in motion and doing all the right things, and you're like,
oh man,
that's right.
I'm home again.
I'm home. I got my eyes open. Man, well, Chris, man, we're running up at 3 hours here.
Here we are.
That was beautiful, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your history and your story and your adventures and all the things that you've been through, and it's been great.
Once again, man,
good times.
Amazing guests showed up, and probably beyond what we thought, because we always research all of our guests and try to get some information on them, and you were a bit mysterious in terms of like what you just told us and how little information there really was out there on you, which is pretty cool actually in the day of an age of social media.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a social media hermit. If you go through my social, you won't find anything personal about me.
No, definitely
you'll
not.
find imagery, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
It shows, and you showed up, man. Like Daniel Little and I were just talking freaking, man, this dude's like way fucking cooler than we thought. And because
James is the shizziest. Did I say that James is the shizziest?
You said it like once or twice. Yeah. No, we kind of did a quick rundown, and we're like, oh shit, like perfect. And man, you came through. Thank you so much.
You. All right, good times.
Yep. Thanks for coming through.
Man.
Alaska, thanks for listening. Leave us a subscription on the YouTube. Rate the channel. Do all the, Stay wild.
You'll remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Look no further than Alaska's #1 real estate team at alaskashometeam.com. Decades of local experience, knowledge, and expertise in the competitive real estate market. Alaska's Home Team makes buying or selling your home a breeze. Give them a call today at 907-277-3777.
Lady with a Plan, your own Alaska event planner. From scouting the perfect location to planning the tiniest details. Specializing in event management and production for intimate social gatherings, retreats, birthdays, bridal, and baby showers. Find Lady with a Plan on Instagram.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They're the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Artic and 58th, handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include snow and ice management, weekly lawn care, and more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
East is equal in prowess and act upon the claim. I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed. This proposition is a simple truth, and it's too important to be lost sight of for a moment. If we cannot beat the enemy where he now is, we never can. It is all easy if our troops march as well as the enemy, and it is unmanly to say they cannot do it.